Preface to the address of Captain J. Mafflin, Duke of Derry's Pink Hussars. Dear Mafflin, you will remember that I wrote this story as an awful warning, none the less you have seen fit to disregard it, and have followed Gadsby's examplias. I betted you, would I acknowledge that you paid the money at once. But you have prejudiced the mind of Mrs. Mafflin against myself, for though I am almost the only respectable friend of your bachelor days, she has been darwaza banned to me throughout the season. Further, she caused you to invite me to dinner at the club where you called me a wild ass of the desert, and went home at 10:30, after discoursing for 20 minutes on the responsibilities of housekeeping. You now drive a mail phaeton, and sit under a Church of England clergyman. I am not angry, Jack, it is your kismet, as it was Gad's, and his kismet who can avoid. Do not think that I am moved by a spirit of revenge, as I write thus publicly, that you and you alone are responsible for this book in other and more expansive days, when you could look at a magnum without flushing, and at a cheroot without turning white. You supplied me with most of the material. Take it back, Aginwood, that I could have preserved your fatherless speech in the telling. Take it back, and by your slippered hearth read it to the late Miss Dearcourt. She will not be any the more willing to receive my cards, but she will admire you immensely, and you, I feel sure, will love me. You may even invite me to another very bad dinner at the club, which, as you and your wife know, is a safe neutral ground for the entertainment of wild asses. Then, my very dear hypocrite, we shall be quits. Yours always, Rudyard Kipling. P.S. On second thoughts, I should recommend you to keep the book away from Mrs. Mafflin. Poor dear mamma. The wild hawk to the windswept sky, the deer to the wholesome wold, and the heart of a man to the heart of a maid, as it was in the days of old gypsy song. Scene interior of Miss Minnie Thregan's bedroom at Simla. Miss Thregan in windows at, turning over a drawer full of things. Miss Emma Dearcourt, bosom friend, who has come to spend the day sitting on the bed, manipulating the bodice of a ballroom frock, and a bunch of artificial lilies of the valley. Time 530 p. Roman 1000, on a hot May afternoon. Miss Dearcourt, and he said, I shall never forget this dance. And of course I said, oh, how can you be so silly? Do you think he meant anything, dear? Miss Thregan, extracting long lavender silk, stocking from the rubbish. You know him better than I do. Miss Roman 500, oh, do be sympathetic, Minnie. I am sure he does, at least I would be sure, if he wasn't always riding with that odious Mrs. Hagan. Miss T, I suppose so. How does one manage to dance through one's heels? First look at this, isn't it shameful? Spreads stocking heel on open hand for inspection. Miss Roman 500, never mind that you can't mend it, help me with this hateful bodice. I've run the string so, and I've run the string so, and I can't make the fullness come right. Where would you put this, waves, lilies of the valley? Miss T, as high up on the shoulder as possible. Miss Roman 500 am, I quite tall enough, I know, it makes May older look lopsided. Miss T, yes, but May hasn't your shoulders, hers are like a hock bottle. Bearer rapping at door, Captain Sahib Aya. Miss Roman 500, jumping up wildly and hunting for bodice, which she has discarded owing to the heat of the day. Captain Sahib, what Captain Sahib? Oh, good gracious, and I am only half dressed. Well, I shan't bother. Miss T calmly, you needn't, it isn't for us, that's Captain Gadsby. He is going for a ride with Mama. He generally comes 5 days out of the 7. Agonized voice, prom and inner apartment. Minnie, run out and give Captain Gadsby some tea, and tell him I shall be ready in 10 minutes. And oh, Minnie, come to me an instant, there's a dear girl. Miss T, oh bother, aloud, very well, Mama. Exit and reappears after 5 minutes, flushed and rubbing her fingers. Miss Roman 500, you look pink, what has happened? Miss T, in a stage whisper, a 24-inch waist, and she won't let it out. Where are my bangles? Rummager on the toiletable, and dabs at her hair with a brush in the interval. Miss Roman 500, who is this Captain Gadsby? I don't think I've met him. Miss T, you must have, he belongs to the Harar set, I've danced with him, but I've never talked to him. He's a big yellow man, just like a newly hatched chicken with an enormous mustache. He walks like this, imitates cavalry swagger, and he goes hum deep down in his throat when he can't think of anything to say. Mama likes him, I don't. Miss Roman 500, abstractedly, does he wax that mustache? Miss T, busy with powder puff, yes, I think so, why? Miss Roman 500, bending over the bodice and sewing furiously, oh, nothinganly. Miss T, sternly, only what out with it, Emma. Miss Roman 500, well, May Aldrich's engaged to Mr. Charteris, you know, said promise you won't repeat this. Miss T, yes, I promise. What did she say? Miss Roman 500 that, being kissed with a rush with a man who didn't wax his mustache was like eating an egg without salt. Miss T at her full height with crushing scorn, May Alger is a horrid nasty thing. And you can tell her I said so. I am glad, she doesn't belong to my set. I must go and feed this man. Do I look presentable? Miss Roman 500 yes, perfectly, be quick, and hand him over to your mother. And then we can talk. I shall listen at the door to hear what you say to him. Miss T sure, I don't care, I am not afraid of Captain Gadsby. In proof of this swings into the drawing-room with a mannish stride followed by 2 short steps, which produces the effect of a restive horse, entering Mrs. Captain Gadsby, who is sitting in the shadow of the window curtain, and gazes round helplessly. Captain Gadsby, aside the filly, by Jove, must ha picked up that action from the sire aloud, rising. Good evening, Miss Thregan. Miss T conscious that she is flushing. Good evening, Captain Gadsby. Mama told me to say that she will be ready in a few minutes. Want you have some tea? Aside, I hope Mama will be quick. What am I to say to the creature? Aloud, and abruptly, milk and sugar. Cap G no sugar thanks, and very little milk Hotham. Miss T aside, if he's going to do that I am lost, I shall laugh, I know I shall. Cap G pulling at his mustache, and watching it sideways down his nose, ha-hum aside, wonder what the little beast can talk about, must make a shot at it. Miss T aside, oh this is agonizing, I must say something. Both together have you been? Cap G, I beg your pardon, you were going to say. Miss T, who has been watching the mustache with odd fascination, want you have some eggs? Cap G looking bewilderedly at the teatable eggs aside, oh Hades, she must have a nurseridia at this hour s'pose. They've wiped her mouth, and sent her to me, while the mother is getting on her duds. Aloud, no thanks. Miss T crimson with confusion, oh I didn't mean that, I wasn't thinking of eggs for an instant, I mean, salt. Want you have some sassweets? Aside, hell, think me a raving lunatic, I wish Mama would come. Cap G aside, it was a nurseridia, and she's ashamed of it, by Jove, she doesn't look half bad when she colors up like that. Aloud, helping himself from the dish, have you seen those new chocolates at politeness? Miss T no, I made these myself. What are they like? Cap G these delicious. Aside, and that's a fact. Miss T aside, oh bother, hell, think I'm fishing for compliments. Aloud, no politeness of course. Cap G enthusiastically, not to compare with these, how do you make them? I can't get my consomme to understand the simplest thing beyond mutton and fowl. Miss T yes, I am not a consomme, you know, perhaps you frighten him. You should never frighten a servant, he loses his head, it's very bad policy. Cap G he's so awfully stupid. Miss T folding her hands in her zap, you should call him quietly, and say oh consomme G. Cap G getting interested, yes, aside, fancy that little featherweight saying oh consomme G to my bloodthirsty Mir Khan. Miss T, then you should explain the dinner dish by dish. Cap G, but I can't speak the vernacular. Miss T patronizingly, you should pass the higher standard and try. Cap G, I have, but I don't seem to be any the wiser, are you? Miss T, I never passed the higher standard, but the consomme is very patient with me, he doesn't get angry when I talk about sheep's topies, or order mons of grain when I mean sears. Cap G aside with intense indignation, id like to see Mir Khan being rude to that girl. Hullo, steady the buffs. Aloud, and do you understand about horses too? Miss T a little, not very much, I can't doctor them, but I know what they ought to eat, and I am in charge of our stable. Cap G indeed, you might help me then, what ought a man to give his size in the hills? My ruffian says 8 rupees, because everything is so dear. Miss T 6 rupees a month, and 1 rupee simla allowance, neither more nor less, and a grass cut gets 6 rupees, that's better than buying grass in the bazaar. Cap G admiringly, how do you know? Miss T, I have tried both ways. Cap G, do you ride much? Then I've never seen you on the mall. Miss T aside, I haven't passed him more than 50 times. Aloud, nearly every day. Cap G, by Jove, I didn't know that. Ha-hum pulls at his mustache, and is silent for 40 seconds. Miss T desperately, and wondering what will happen next, it looks beautiful, I shouldn't touch it. If I were you. Aside, it's all Mama's fault for not coming before, I will be rude. Cap G bronzing under the tan, and bringing down his hand very quickly, what it, oh yes, ha-ha laughs, uneasily aside, well of all the dashed cheek, I never had a woman say that to me, yet she must be a cool hand or elsa that nurseridia. Voice prom the unknown, tchk, tchk, tchk. Cap G, good gracious, what's that? Miss T, the dog, I think. Aside, Emma has been listening, and I'll never forgive her. Cap G aside, they don't keep dogs here aloud, didn't sound like a dog, did it? Miss T, then it must have been the cat. Let's go into the veranda. What a lovely evening it is. Steps into veranda, and looks out across the hills, into sunset. The captain follows. Cap G aside, superb eyes. I wonder that I never noticed them before aloud. There's going to be a dance at Viceregal Lodge on Wednesday. Can you spare me one? Miss T shortly, no, I don't want any of your charitadances. You only ask me because Mama told you to. I hop, and I bump, you know I do. Cap G aside, that's true, but little girls shouldn't understand these things aloud, no, on my word. I don't. You dance beautifully. Miss T, then why do you always stand out, after half a dozen turns? I thought officers in the army didn't tell fibs. Cap G, it wasn't a fib, believe me. I really do want the pleasure of a dance with you. Miss T wickedly, why won't Mama dance with you any more? Cap G more earnestly, than the necessity demands. I wasn't thinking of your mother aside, you little vixen. Miss T still looking out of the window. Oh, I beg your pardon, I was thinking of something else. Cap G aside, well, I wonder what she'll say next. I've never known a woman treat me like this before. I might be dash it. I might be an infantry subaltern. Aloud. Oh please, don't trouble, I am not worth thinking about. Isn't your mother ready yet? Miss T, I should think so, but promise me, Captain Gadsby, you won't take poor dear Mama twice round Jacko, any more, it tires her so. Cap G, she says that no exercise tires her. Miss T, yes, but she suffers afterward. You don't know what rheumatism is, and you ought to keep her out so late when it gets chill in the evenings. Cap G aside, rheumatism. I thought she came off her horse, rather in a bunch. Hugh, one lives, and learns. Aloud, I am sorry to hear that she hasn't mentioned it to me. Miss T flurried, of course, not poor dear Mama, never would, and you mustn't say that I told you either. Promise me that you want, oh Captain Gadsby, promise me you want. Cap G, I am dumb, or I shall be as soon as you've given me that dance, and another if you can trouble yourself to think about me for a minute. Miss T, but you won't like it one little bit, y'all be awfully sorry afterward. Cap G, I shall like it above all things, and I shall only be sorry that I didn't get more aside. Now, what in the world am I saying? Miss T, very well, you will have only yourself to thank, if your toes are trodden on. Shall we say 7? Cap G, and 11 aside, she can't be more than 8 stone, but even then, it's an absurdly small foot. Looks at his own riding boots. Miss T, they're a beautifully shiny, I can almost see my face in them. Cap G, I was thinking whether I should have to go on crutches for the rest of my life, if you trod on my toes. Miss T, very likely, why not change 11 for a square? Cap G, no please, I want them, both waltzes, want you write them down. Miss T J, don't get so many dances, that I shall confuse them, you will be the offender. Cap G, wait, and see aside, she doesn't dance perfectly perhaps, but. Miss T, your tea must have got cold by this time, want you have another cup? Cap G, no thanks, don't you think it's pleasanter out in the veranda aside? I never saw hair take that color in the sunshine before. Aloud, it's like one of Dixie's pictures. Miss T, yes, it's a wonderful sunset, isn't it, bluntly, but what do you know about Dixie's pictures? Cap G, I go home occasionally, and I used to know the galleries nervously. You must think me only a Philistine with a mustache. Miss T, don't please, don't, I am so sorry for what I said then, I was horribly rude, it slipped out before I thought. Don't you know the temptation to say frightful and shocking things? Just for the mere sake of saying them, I am afraid I gave way to it. Cap G, watching the girl as she flushes, I think I know the feeling. It would be terrible if we all yielded to it, wouldn't it? For instance, I might say, poor dear Mama, entering habited, hatted, and booted. Ah, Captain Gadsby, sorry to keep you waiting. Hope you haven't been bored. My little girl been talking to you. Miss T aside, I am not sorry. I spoke about the rheumatism. I am not. I only wished I'd mentioned the corns too. Cap G aside, what a shame. I wonder how old she is. It never occurred to me before. Aloud, we've been discussing Shakespeare and the musical glasses in the veranda. Miss T aside, nice man, he knows that quotation. He isn't a Philistine with a mustache. Aloud, goodbye, Captain Gadsby. Aside, what a huge hand, and what a squeeze. I don't suppose he meant it, but he has driven the rings into my fingers. Poor dear Mama has vermilion come round. Yet oh yes, Captain Gadsby, don't you think that the saddle is too far forward? They pass into the front veranda. Cap G aside, how the dickens should I know what she prefers? She told me that she doted on horses. Aloud, I think it is. Miss T coming out into front veranda. Oh bad Boldu, I must speak to him for this. He has taken up the curb 2 links, and vermilion baits that passes out, and to horse's head. Cap G let me do it. Miss T no vermilion understands me don't you old man looses curb chain skillfully, and pats horse on nose, and throttle poor vermilion, did they want to cut his chin off there? Captain Gadsby watches the interlude with undisguised admiration. Poor dear Mama tartly, to Miss T you've forgotten your guest I think dear. Miss T good gracious, so I have goodbye retreats indoors hastily. Poor dear Mama bunching, reins in fingers hampered by 2 tight gauntlets Captain Gadsby. Captain Gadsby stoops, and makes the footrest poor dear Mama blunders halts too long, and breaks through it. Cap G aside, can't hold up even stone forever, it's all your rheumatism allowed, can't imagine, why I was so clumsy aside, now little featherweight would have gone up like a bird. They ride out of the garden, the captain falls back. Cap G aside how that habit catches her under the arms Poor dear Mama with the worn smile of 16 seasons, the worse for exchange, you're dull this afternoon Captain Gadsby. Cap G spurring up wearily, why did you keep me waiting so long? Etc., etc., etc. An interval of 3 weeks. Gilded youth sitting on railings opposite Town Hall Hullo, Gandhi been trotting out the gorgonzola, we all thought it was the gorgon you're mashing. Cap G with withering emphasis, you young cub, what theatos it matter to you? Proceeds to read Gilded Youth, a lecture on discretion and deportment, which crumbles latter like a Chinese lantern, departs fuming. Further interval of 5 weeks in exterior of New Simla Library. On a foggy evening, Miss Threakin and Miss Dearcourt meet among the rickshaws. Miss T is carrying a bundle of books under her left arm. Miss Roman 500 level intonation well. Miss I ascending intonation well. Miss Roman 500, capturing her friend's left arm, taking away all the books, placing books in rickshaw, returning to arm, securing hand by third finger, and investigating well you bad girl, and you never told me. Miss T demurely haha, only spoke yesterday afternoon. Miss Roman 500, bless you dear and I am to be bridesmaid errant, you know you promised ever so long ago. Miss T of course I'll tell you all about it tomorrow, gets into rickshaw Emma. Miss Roman 500, with intense interest yes dear. Miss T piano it's quite true about thig. Miss Roman 500, what egg? Miss T pianissimo prestissimo the egg, without the salt port chalo gar ko jaldi jampani, go home jampani. The world without. Certain people of importance. Scene smoking room of the Dig Chai Club time 10 p. Roman 1000, of a stuffy night, in the rains. 4 men dispersed in picturesque attitudes and easy-chairs. To these enter Blaine of the irregular moguls in evening dress. Blaine few the judge ought to be hanged, in his own storgadown high kitmet garl pura whiskapeg, to take the taste out of my mouth. Curtis Royal Artillery, that's it is it what the deuce made you dine at the judge's, you know his bandabust. Blaine thought it couldn't be worse than the club, but ill swear he buys alleged liquor, and doctors it with gin and ink looking round the room is this all of you tonight? Dune P.W. Roman 500 Anthony was called out at dinner, Mingle had a pain in his tummy. Curtis Miggy dies of cholera once a week in the rains, and gets drunk on chlorodyne in between good little chap, though anyone at the judge's Blaine. Blaine Cockley and his memsahib looking awfully white, and fagged female girl couldn't catch the name on her way to the hills under the Cockleys Chargath Judge and Markin Fresh, from Simla disgustingly fit. Curtis good lord how truly magnificent was there enough ice, when I mangled garbage, there. I got one whole lump nearly as big as a walnut, what had Markin to say for himself? Blaine seems that everyone is having a fairly good time up there, in spite of the rain by Jove, that reminds me I know, I hadn't come across just for the pleasure of your society news great news Markin told me. Dune who's dead now? Blaine no one that I know of, but Gandhi's hooked at last. Dropping chorus, how much the devil Markin was pulling your leg, not Gandhi. Blaine humming yea, verily, 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 I say unto thee Theodore the gift, O God our Philip, it's been given out up above. Macassey barristerat, law ha women will give out anything what does accused say. Blaine Markin told me that he congratulated him warily on hand, held out t'other ready to guard Gandhi turned pink, and said it was so. Curtis poor old caddy they all do it, who she lets hear the details. Blaine, she's a girl daughter of a Colonel somebody. Dune, Simla's stiff with Colonel's daughters, be more explicit. Blaine, wait a shake, what was her name, throw something 3. Curtis stars, perhaps Caddy knows that brand. Blaine, Thregan, Minnie Thregan. Macassey, Thregan isn't, she a little bit of a girl with red hair. Blaine, bout that from what Markin said. Macassey, then I've met her, she was at Lucknow last season, owned a permanently juvenile mama, and danced damnably. I say, Jervis, you knew the Thregans, didn't you? Jervis, civilian of 25 years' service, waking up from his doze. What's that new, who, how I thought I was at home, confound you. Macassey, the Thregan girls engaged, so Blaine says. Jervis, slowly engaged, bless my soul, I am getting an old man. Little Minnie Thregan, engaged, it was only the other day I went home with them in the Saratno. The Massilian, she was crawling about on her hands and knees, among the ayahs, used to call me the Tic-Tac Sahib, because I showed her my watch, and that was in 6770. Good God, how time flies, I am an old man. I remember when Thregan married Miss Derwent, daughter of old Hooky Derwent, but that was before your time. And so the little baby's engaged to have a little baby of her own. Who's the other fool? Macassey, Gadsby of the Pink Hussars. Jervis, never met him. Thregan lived in debt, married in debt, and LL die in debt. Must be glad to get the girl off his hands. Blaine, Caddy has Munalucky devil place at home too. Dune, he comes of first-class stock, can't quite understand his being caught by a colonel's daughter, and looking cautiously round room. Black infantry, at that, no offense to you, Blaine. Blaine, stiffly, not much thanks. Curtis, quoting motto of irregular moguls, we are what we are, old man. But Gandhi was such a superior animal, as a rule, why didn't he go home and pick his wife there? Macassey, they are all alike when they come to the turn into the straight about 30. A man begins to get sick of living alone. Curtis, and of the eternal muttonchop in the morning. Dune, it's a dead goat as a rule, but go on, Macassey. Macassey, if a man's once taken that way, nothing will hold him. Do you remember Benoit of your service, Dune? They transferred him to Tharanda when his time came, and he married a platelier's daughter, or something of that kind. She was the only female about the place. Done, yes, poor brute, that smashed Benoit's chances of promotion altogether. Mrs. Benoit used to ask, was you Jem to the dance this evenin'? Curtis, hang it all, Gandhi hasn't married beneath him. There's no Tarbrush in the family, I suppose. Jervis, Tarbrush, not an honor, you young fellows talk, as though the man was doing the girl an honor in marrying her. You're all too conceited, nothing's good enough for you. Blaine, not even an empty club, a damn bad dinner at the judge's, and a station as sickly as a hospital. You're quite right, we're a set of Sybarites. Dune, luxurious dogs wallowing in. Curtis, prickly heat between the shoulders. I am covered with it, let's hope Bayora will be cooler. Blaine, Hugh, are you ordered into camp too? I thought the gunners had a clean sheet. Curtis, no worse luck, 2 cases, yesterday on Deedend. If we have a third out, we go. Is there any shooting at Bayora Dune? Dune, the country's underwater, except the patch by the Grand Trunk Road. I was there yesterday looking at a bund, and came across 4 poor devils in their last stage. It's rather bad from here to Kuchera. Curtis, then we're pretty certain to have a heavy go of it. Hey, I shouldn't mind changing places with Gaddy for a while, sport with Amaryllis in the shade of the town hall. And all that. Oh, why doesn't somebody come and marry me, instead of letting me go into Colracamp? Macassey, ask the committee. Curtis, you ruffian, you'll stand me another peg for that. Blaine, what will you take? Macassey, is fine on moral grounds. Done, have you any preference? Done, small glass Cummel, please. Excellent carminative these days. Anthony told me so. Macassey, signing voucher for 4 drinks, most unfair punishment. I only thought of Curtis as Actaeon being chivied round the billiard tables by the nymphs of Diana. Blaine, Curtis would have to import his nymphs by train. Mrs. Cockley's the only woman in the station, she won't leave Cockley, and he's doing his best to get her to go. Curtis, good indeed. Here's Mrs. Cockley's health to the only wife in the station, and a damned brave woman. Omna's drinking, a damned brave woman. Blaine, I suppose Gandhi will bring his wife here at the end of the cold, whether they are going to be married almost immediately, I believe. Curtis, Gandhi may thank his luck that the Pink Hussars are all detachment, and no headquarters this hot, whether or he be torn from the arms of his love, as sure as death. Have you ever noticed the thorough-minded way British cavalry take to cholera? It's because they are so expensive. If the Pinks had stood fast here, they would have been out in camp a month ago. Yes, I should decidedly like to be Gandhi. Mackesy hell go home after he's married, and send in his papacy if he doesn't. Blaine why shouldn't he hast he money, would any one of us be here if we weren't paupers? Done poor old pauper, what has become of the 600 you rooked from our table last month? Blaine it took unto itself wings, I think an enterprising tradesman got some of it, and a shroff gobbled the restore else I spent it. Curtis Gandhi never had dealings with a shroff in his life. Done virtuous Gandhi, if I had 3,000 a month paid from England, I don't think I'd deal with a shroff either. Mackesy yawning oh it's a sweet life I wonder, whether matrimony would make it sweeter. Curtis asked Cocklewith his wife dying by inches. Blaine go home, and get a fool of a girl to come out towhet. Is it Thackeray says the splendid palace of an Indian proconsul? Dune which reminds me my quarters leak like a sieve, I had fever last night from sleeping in a swamp, and the worst of it is one can't do anything to a roof, till the rains are over. Curtis, what's wrong with you? You haven't 80 rotting Tommies to take into a running stream. Done no, but I am mixed boils and bad language I am a regular job, all over my body, it's sheer poverty of blood, and I don't see any chance of getting richer either way. Blaine can't you take leave done, that's the pull you army men have over us 10 days are nothing in your sight. I am so important, that government can't find a substitute. If I go away yees, I'd like to be Gandhi whoever his wife may be. Curtis you've passed the turn of life that Mackesy was speaking of. Done indeed I have, but I never yet had the brutality to ask a woman to share my life out here. Blaine on my soul, I believe you're right I am thinking of Mrs. Cockley, the woman's, an absolute wreck. Done exactly because she stays down here the only way to keep her fit would be to send her to the hills for 8 months and, the same with any woman, I fancy, I see myself taking a wife on those terms. Mackesy with the rupee at 1 and 6 pence, the little Dunes would be little Deborah Dunes, with a fine Mussery chitchanent to bring home for the holidays. Curtis and a pair of beautiful samberhorns for Dun to wear free of expense, presented by Dun yes. It's an enchanting prospect, by the way the rupee hasn't done falling, yet the time will come when we shall think ourselves lucky if we only lose half our pay. Curtis surely a third's loss enough who gains by the arrangement, that's what I want to know. Blaine the silver question I am going to bed. If you begin squabbling thank goodness here's Anthony looking like a ghost. Enter Anthony Indian medical staff, very white and tired. Anthony evening Blaine it's raining in sheets whiskey, peglau kitmatker, the roads are something ghastly. Curtis how's Mingle? Anthony very bad and more frightened. I handed him over to Fewton Mingle, might just as well have called him in the first place, instead of bothering me. Blaine he's a nervous little chap, what has he got this time? Anthony can't quite say a very bad tummy and a blue funk, so far he asked me at once if it was cholera, and I told him not to be a fool that soothed him. Curtis poor devil, the funk does half the business in a man of that build. Anthony lighting a cheroot, I firmly believe the funk will kill him, if he stays down you know the amount of trouble he's been giving Fewton for the last 3 weeks. He's doing his very best to frighten himself into the grave. General chorus, poor little devil, why doesn't he get away? Anthony can't he has his leave all right, but he's so dipped he can't take it, and I don't think his name on paper would raise 4 annas that's in confidence though. Mackesy all the station knows it. Anthony I suppose I shall have to die here he said squirming all across the bed. He's quite made up his mind to kingdom come, and I know he has nothing more than a wet-weather tummy, if he could only keep a hand on himself. Blaine that's very bad poor little Miggy, good little chap too I say. Anthony what do you say? Blaine well look here anyhow, if it's like thoughtas you say I say 50. Curtis I say 50. Mackesy I go 20 better. Dun bloated creases of the bar, I say 50 Gervais, what do you say hi wake up? Gervais what's that? Curtis we want 100 rupees from you, you're a bachelor drawing a gigantic income, and there's a man in a hole. Gervais what man anyone dead? Blaine no but hell die if you don't give the 100 here, here's a peg voucher you can see what we've signed for, and Anthony's man will come round tomorrow to collect it, so there will be no trouble. Gervais signing 100 Roman 1000, Jay there you are feebly it isn't one of your jokes is it? Blaine no it really is wanted Anthony, you were the biggest poker winner last week, and you've defrauded the tax collector too long sign. Anthony let's see 350s, and a 7 to 2 23 20 say 420 thatlal, give him a month clear at the hills. Many thanks you men, ill send round the chaprassie tomorrow. Curtis, you must engineer his taking the stuff, and of course you mustn't. Anthony, of course, it would never do he'd weep, with gratitude over his evening drink. Blaine, that's just what he would do, damn him. Oh, I say Anthony, you pretend to know everything. Have you heard about Gandhi? Anthony, no divorce court at last. Blaine, worse, he's engaged. Anthony, how much he can't be. Blaine, he's going to be married in a few weeks. Markin told me at the judges this evening, it's pucka. Anthony, you don't say so. Holy Moses, there'll be a shine in the tents of Kedar. Curtis, regiment cut up rough, think you. Anthony, don't know anything about the regiment. Macassey, it is bigamy then. Anthony, maybe, do you mean to say that you men have forgot? Or is there more charity in the world than I thought? Done, you don't look pretty when you are trying to keep a secret, you bloat. Explain. Anthony, Mrs. Harriet. Blaine, after a long pause to the room generally, it's my notion that we are a set of fools. Macassey, nonsense, that business was knocked on the head last season. Why, young Mallard. Anthony, Mallard was a candlestick paraded as such, think a while, recollect last season, and the talk then, Mallard or no Mallard. Did Gandhi ever talk to any other woman? Curtis, there's something in that. It was slightly noticeable now you come to mention it, but she's at Naini Tat and he's at Simla. Anthony, he had to go to Simla to look after a globetrotter relative of his, a person with a title uncle or aunt. Blaine, and there, he got engaged. No law prevents a man growing tired of a woman. Anthony, except that he mustn't do it till the woman is tired of him, and the Harriet woman was not that. Curtis, she may be now 2 months of Naini Tal works wonders. Done, curious thing how some women carry a fate with them. There was a Mrs. DG in the central provinces, whose men invariably fell away and got married. It became a regular proverb with us when I was down there. I remember 3 men desperately devoted to her, and they all one after another took wives. Curtis, that's odd now. I should have thought that Mrs. DG's influence would have led them to take other men's wives. It ought to have made them afraid of the judgment of Providence. Anthony, Mrs. Harriet will make Gandhi afraid of something more than the judgment of Providence, I fancy. Blaine, supposing things are as you say, hell be a fool to face her. Hell sit tight at Simla. Anthony shouldn't be a bit surprised if he went off to Naini to explain he's an unaccountable sort of man, and she's likely to be a more than unaccountable woman. Done, what makes you take her character away so confidently? Anthony, primum turn, pus caddy was her first, and a woman doesn't allow her first man to drop away without expostulation. She justifies the first transfer of affection to herself by swearing that it is forever and ever. Consequently, Blaine, consequently, we are sitting here till past 1 o'clock talking scandal like a set of station cats. Anthony, it's all your fault. We were perfectly respectable till you came and go to bed. I am off. Good night all. Curtis, past 1, it's past 2, by Jove, and here's the kit coming for the late charge. Just heavens, 1 2 3 4 5 rupees to pay for the pleasure of saying that a poor little beast of a woman is no better than she should be. I am ashamed of myself. Go to bed, you slanderous villains. And if I am sent to Beora tomorrow, be prepared to hear I am dead before paying my card account. The tents of Kedar. Only why should it be with pain at all? Why must I twixt the leaves of Corona put any kiss of pardon on thy brow? Why should the other women know so much, and talk together such the look, and such the smile he used to love with then as now any wife to any husband? Sine Naini, tal dinner for 34 plate wines, crockery, and kitmatgers, carefully calculated to scale of Rs 6,000 per mensum, less exchange table split lengthways by bank of flowers. Mrs. Harriet, after conversation has risen to proper pitch, "Ah, didn't see you in the crush, in the drawing room sotto voce. Where have you been all this while, Pip?" Captain Gadsby, turning from regularly ordained dinner partner and settling hock glasses, "Good evening sotto voce. Not quite so loud another time. You've no notion how your voice carries aside so much for shirking the written explanation. It'll have to be a verbal one now. Sweet prospect, how on earth am I to tell her that I am a respectable engaged member of society, and it's all over between us? Mrs. H, I've a heavy score against you. Where were you at the Monday pop? Where were you on Tuesday? Where were you at the Lamont's tennis? I was looking everywhere. Cap G for me. Oh, I was alive somewhere, I suppose. Aside, it's for Minnie's sake, but it's going to be dashed unpleasant. Mrs. H, have I done anything to offend you? I never meant it. If I have, I couldn't help going for a ride with the Vayner man. It was promised a week before you came up. Cap G, I didn't know. Mrs. H, it really was. Cap G, anything about it, I mean. Mrs. H, what has upset you today all these days? You haven't been near me for 4 whole days, nearly 100 hours. Was it kind of you, Pip? And I've been looking forward so much to your coming. Cap G, have you? Mrs. H, you know I've been as foolish as a schoolgirl about it. I made a little calendar and put it in my card case. And every time the 12 o'clock gun went off, I scratched out a square and said that brings me nearer to Pip, my Pip. Cap G, with an uneasy laugh, what will Mackler think if you neglect him so? Mrs. H, and it hast brought you nearer, you seem farther away than ever. Are you sulking about something? I know your temper. Cap G, no. Mrs. H, have I grown old in the last few months? Then reaches forward to bank of flowers for menu card. Partner on left, allow me, hands menu card. Mrs. H keeps her arm at full stretch for 3 seconds. Mrs. H to partner, oh thanks, I didn't see, turns right again. Is anything in me changed at all? Cap G, for goodness sake go on with your dinner. You must eat something, try one of those cutlet arrangements aside. And I fancied she had good shoulders once upon a time. What an ass a man can make of himself. Mrs. H helping herself to a paper frill, 7 peas, some stamped carrots, and a spoonful of gravy. That isn't an answer, tell me whether I have done anything. Cap G aside, if it isn't ended here, there will be a ghastly scene somewhere else. If only I'd written to her. And stood the racketat long range to Kitmatker, Hans Simpkin do aloud. I'll tell you later on. Mrs. H, tell me now, it must be some foolish misunderstanding. And you know that there was to be nothing of that sort between us. We of all people in the world can't afford it, is it, the Vayner man? And don't you like to say so on my honor? Cap G, I haven't given the Vayner man a thought. Mrs. H, but how do you know that I haven't? Cap G aside, here's my chance, and may the devil help me through with it, aloud. And measuredly, believe me, I do not care how often or how tenderly you think of the Vayner man. Mrs. H, I wonder if you mean that, oh, what is the good of squabbling and pretending to misunderstand when you are only up for so short a time? Pip, don't be a stupid. Follows a pause, during which he crosses his left leg over his right and continues his dinner. Cap G, in answer to the thunderstorm in her eyes, corns me worst. Mrs. H, upon my word, you are the very rudest man in the world. I'll never do it again. Cap G aside, no, I don't think you will, but I wonder what you will do before it's all over to Kitmatker Thora Simpkin do. Mrs. H, well, haven't you the grace to apologize, bad man? Cap G aside, I mustn't let it drift back. Now, trust a woman for being as blind as a bat when she wants see. Mrs. H, I'm waiting, or would you like me to dictate a form of apology? Cap G desperately, by all means dictate. Mrs. H, lightly, very well, rehearse your several Christian names after me, and go on, profess my sincere repentance. Cap G, sincere repentance. Mrs. H, for having behaved. Cap G aside, at last I wish to goodness shed look away, for having behaved as I have behaved, and declare that I am thoroughly and heartily sick of the whole business, and take this opportunity of making clear my intention of ending it, now henceforward, and forever aside. If anyone had told me I should be such a blackguard. Mrs. H, shaking a spoonful of potato chips into her plate, that's not a pretty joke. Cap G, no, it's a reality. Aside, I wonder if smashes of this kind are always so raw. Mrs. H, really, Pip, you're getting more absurd every day. Cap G, I don't think you quite understand me, shall I repeat it? Mrs. H, no, for pity's sake, don't do that, it's too terrible even in fur. Cap G, ill, let her think it over for a while, but I ought to be horsewhipped. Mrs. H, I want to know what you meant by what you said just now. Cap G, exactly what I said, no less. Mrs. H, but what have I done to deserve it? What have I done? Cap G aside, if she only wouldn't look at me, aloud, and very slowly, his eyes on his plate. Do remember that evening in July before the rains broke, when you said that the end would have to come sooner or later, and you wondered for which of us it would come first? Mrs. H, yes, I was only joking, and you swore that as long as there was breath in your body it should never come, and I believed you. Cap G, fingering menu card, well, it has, that's all. A long pause, during which Mrs. H bows her head and rolls the bread twist into little pellets. G stares at the oleanders. Mrs. H, throwing back her head and laughing naturally, they train us women well, don't they, Pip? Cap G, brutally touching shirt stud, so far as the expression goes aside it, isn't in her nature to take things quietly there'll be an explosion yet. Mrs. H with a shudder thank you B but even red Indians allow people to wriggle. When they're being tortured, I believe slips fan from girdle and fans, slowly rim of fan level with chin. Partner on left very close tonight isn't it, you find it too much for you. Mrs. H oh no not in the least, but they really ought to have punkas even in your cool nanny. Tal aren't they turns dropping fan and raising eyebrows. Cap G it's all right aside here comes the storm. Mrs. H her eyes on the tablecloth fan ready in right hand, it was very cleverly managed Pip. And I congratulate you you swore you never contented yourself with merely saying a thing you swore that as far as lay in your power, you'd make my wretched life pleasant for me, and you've denied me the consolation of breaking down. I should have done it indeed. I should a woman would hardly have thought of this refinement, my kind considerate friend Fangard, as before you have explained things, so tenderly and truthfully too, you haven't spoken or written a word of warning. And you have let me believe in you, till the last minute you haven't condescended to give me your reason. Yet no a woman could not have managed it half so well are there many men like you in the world. Cap G I am sure I don't know to Kitmatker oh Simpkin do. Mrs. H you call yourself a man of the world, don't you do men of the world behave like devils, when they a woman the honor to get tired of her. Cap G I am sure I don't know don't speak so loud. Mrs. H keep us respectable oh Lord, whatever happens don't be afraid of my compromising you you've chosen your ground far too well. And I've been properly brought up lowering fan, haven't you any pity Pip, except for yourself. Cap G wouldn't it be rather impertinent of me to say that I am sorry for you. Mrs. H I think you have said it once or twice before you're growing very careful of my feelings my God Pip. I was a good woman, once you said I was you've made me, what I am, what are you going to do with me? What are you going to do with me want you say, that you are sorry helps herself to iced asparagus. Cap G I am sorry for you if you want the pity of such a brute, as I am awfully sorry for you. Mrs. H rather tame for a man of the world, do you think that that admission clears you? Cap G what can I do, I can only tell you, what I think of myself you can't think worse than that. Mrs. H oh yes, I can. And now will you tell me the reason of all this remorse, has Bayard been suddenly conscience-stricken? Cap G angrily his eyes still lowered no, the thing has come to an end on my side that's all maffish. Mrs. H that's all maffish as though I were a Kyrene dragoman, you used to make prettier speeches do you remember when you said. Cap G for heaven's sake, don't bring that back call me anything you like, and ill admit it. Mrs. H but you don't care to be reminded of old lies. If I could hope to hurt you one-tenth as much as you have hurt me tonight no, I couldn't do itlier though you are. Cap G I've spoken the truth. Mrs. H my dear sir you flatter yourself, you have lied over the reason Pip remember that I know you as you don't know yourself, you have been everything to me, though you are Fangard, oh what a contemptible thing it is. And so you are merely tired of me. Cap G since you insist upon my repeating it yes. Mrs. H lie the first I wish I knew a coarser word lie seems so ineffectual in your case. The fire has just died out. And there is no fresh one think for a minute Pip, if you care, whether I despise you more than I do simply maffish is it? Cap G yes aside I think I deserve this. Mrs. H lie number 2, before the next glass chokes you tell me her name. Cap G aside, I'll make her pay for dragging Minnie into the business aloud, is it likely? Mrs. H very likely. If you thought that it would flatter your vanity, you'd cry my name on the housetops, to make people turn round. Cap G, I wish I had there would have been an end to this business. Mrs. H, oh no there would not and, so you were going to be virtuous, and blasé were you to come to me, and say I've done with you the incident, is clust I ought to be proud of having kept such a man so long. Cap G aside, it only remains to pray for the end of the dinner, aloud you know what I think of myself. Mrs. H as it's the only person in he world you ever do think of, and as I know your mind thoroughly, I do you want to get it all over and oh, I can't keep you back, and you're going think of it Pip do throw me over for another woman, and you swore that all other women were Pip my Pip, she can't care for you as I do believe me, she can't is it anyone that I know. Cap G thank goodness it isn't aside, I expected a cyclone but not an earthquake. Mrs. H she can't. Is there anything that I wouldn't do for you or haven't done? And to think that I should take this trouble over you knowing what you are do you despise me for it? Cap G wiping his mouth to hide a smile again. It's entirely a work of charity on your part. Mrs. H. But I have no right to resent it is she better looking than I who was it said. Cap G not that. Mrs. H. Be more merciful than you were don't you know that all women are alike. Cap G aside then this is the exception that proves the rule. Mrs. H. All of them, I'll tell you anything you like I will upon my word. They only want the admiration from anybody no matter wonybody. But there is always one man that they care for more than anyone else in the world, and would sacrifice all the others to do listen. I've kept the vainer man trotting after me like a poodle, and he believes that he is the only man I am interested in tell you what he said to me. Cap G spare him aside, I wonder what his version is. Mrs. H. He's been waiting for me to look at him all through dinner, shall I do it? And you can see what an idiot he looks. Cap G. But what imports the nomination of this gentleman? Mrs. H. Watch sends a glance to the vainer man, who tries vainly to combine a mouthful of ice, putting a smirk of self-satisfaction, a glare of intense devotion, and the stolidity of a British dining countenance. Cap G critically, he doesn't look pretty, why didn't you wait till the spoon was out of his mouth? Mrs. H. To amuse you shall make an exhibition of you as I've made of him, and people will laugh at you Pip. Can't you see that it's as plain as the noonday sun you'll be trotted about, and told lies, and made a fool of like the others? I never made a fool of you, did I? Cap G aside, what a clever little woman it is. Mrs. H. Well, what have you to say? Cap G. I feel better. Mrs. H. Yes, I suppose so. After I have come down to your level, I couldn't have done it if I hadn't cared for you so much. I have spoken the truth. Cap G. It doesn't alter the situation. Mrs. H. Passionately, then she has said that she cares for you. Don't believe her, Pip. It's as bad as yours to me. Cap G. SSS steady, I've a notion that a friend of yours is looking at you. Mrs. H. I hate him, he introduced you to me. Cap G. Aside, and some people would like women to assist in making the law's introduction to imply condonement, aloud. Well, you see, if you can remember so far back as that I couldn't in common politeness refuse the offer. Mrs. H. In common politeness, we have got beyond that. Cap G. Aside, old ground means fresh trouble. Aloud, on my honor. Mrs. H. You're what? Ha. Cap G. Dishonor, then she's not what you imagine I meant to. Mrs. H. Don't tell me anything about her, she won't care for you, and when you come back after having made an exhibition of yourself, you'll find me occupied with. Cap G. Insolently, you couldn't while I am alive. Aside, if that doesn't bring her pride to her rescue, nothing will. Mrs. H. Drawing herself up, couldn't do it. I softening you're right. I don't believe I could, so you are what you are, a coward. And a liar in grain. Cap G. It doesn't hurt so much after your little lecture with demonstrations. Mrs. H. One mass of vanity, will nothing ever touch you in this life? There must be a hereafter if it's only for the benefit of, but you will have it all to yourself. Cap G. Under his eyebrows, are you certain of that? Mrs. H. I shall have had mine in this life, and it will serve me right. Cap G. But the admiration that you insisted on so strongly a moment ago. Aside, I am a brute. Mrs. H. Fiercely, will that console me for knowing that you will go to her with the same words, the same arguments, and the same pet names you used to me? And if she cares for you, you too will laugh over my story. Want that be punishment, heavy enough even for me, and it's all useless. That's another punishment. Cap G. Feebly, come, I am not so low as you think. Mrs. H. Not now perhaps, but you will be. Pip, if a woman flatters your vanity, there's nothing on earth that you would not tell her, and no meanness that you would not do. Have I known you so long without knowing that? Cap G. If you can trust me in nothing else, and I don't see why I should be trusted, you can count upon my holding my tongue. Mrs. H. If you denied everything you've said this evening, and declared it was all in fun, a long pause, I'd trust you not. Otherwise, all I ask is don't tell her my name, please don't. A man might forget a woman. Neverwood looks up table and sees hostess beginning to collect eyes. So it's all ended through no fault of mine. Haven't I behaved beautifully? I've accepted your dismissal. And you managed it as cruelly as you could, and I have made you respect my sex. Haven't I? Arranging gloves and fan. I only pray that shall know you some day. As I know you now, I wouldn't be you then, for I think even your conceit will be hurt. I hope shall pay you back the humiliation you've brought on me. I hope no. I can't give you up. I must have something to look forward to, or I shall go crazy. When it's all over, come back to me, and y'all find that you're my Pip still. Cap G very clearly false move, and you pay for it, it's a girl. Mrs. H rising then, it was true they said, but I wouldn't insult you by asking a girl. I was a girl, not very long ago. Be good to her, Pip, I daresay she believes in you. Goes out with an uncertain smile, he watches her through the door, and settles into a chair as the men redistribute themselves. Cap G, now if there is any power who looks after this world, will he kindly tell me what I have done, reaching out for the claret and half. Aloud, what have I done? With any amazement. And are not afraid with any amazement, marriage service. Cine bachelor's bedroom toiletable arranged with unnatural neatness, Captain Gadsby asleep, and snoring heavily, time 10:30, a Roman 1000, a glorious autumn day, at Simla enter. Delicately Captain Mafflin of Gadsby's regiment looks at sleeper, and shakes his head, murmuring poor Gaddy performs violent fantasia, with hairbrushes on chairback. Capt Roman 1000, wake up my sleeping beauty, roars. Uprouse ye then, my merry men, it is our opening day, it is our opening die. Gaddy, the little dickabirds have been billing and cooing for ever so long, and I am here. Cap G sitting up and yawning, mornin', this is awfully good of you, old fellow, most awfully good of you, don't know what I should do without you, pon my soul. I haven't slept a wink all night. Capt Roman 1000, I didn't get in till 11:30, had a look at you then, and you seem to be sleeping as soundly as a condemned criminal. Cap G, Jack, if you want to make those disgustingly worn-out jokes, you'd better go away with portentous gravity. It's the happiest day in my life. Capt Roman 1000, chuckling grimly, not by a very long chalk, my son. You're going through some of the most refined torture you've ever known. But be calm, I am with you, shun dress. Cap G, a what? Capt Roman 1000, do you suppose that you are your own master for the next 12 hours? If you do, of course, makes for the door. Cap G, no, for goodness sake, old man, don't do that, y'all see through want you. I've been mugging up that beastly drill and can't remember a line of it. Capt Roman 1000, overturning, GS uniform, go, and tub, don't bother me, ill. Give you 10 minutes to dress in. Interval filled by the noise, as of one splashing in the bathroom. Cap G emerging from dressing room, what time is it? Capt Roman 1000, nearly 11. Cap G, 5 hours more, oh Lord. Capt Roman 1000, aside, first sign of funk, that wonder if it's going to spread, aloud, come along to breakfast. Cap G, I can't eat anything, I don't want any breakfast. Capt Roman 1000, aside, so early, aloud, Captain Gadsby, I order you to eat breakfast, and a dashed good breakfast, too, none of your bridal airs and graces with me. Leads G downstairs, and stands over him while he eats 2 chops. Cap G, who has looked at his watch thrice in the last 5 minutes, what time is it? Capt Roman 1000, time to come for a walk, light up. Cap G, I haven't smoked for 10 days, and I want now, takes cheroot which Roman 1000 has cut for him, and blows smoke through his nose, luxuriously. We aren't going down the mall, are we? Capt Roman 1000, aside, they're all alike in these stages, aloud. No, my Vestal, we're going along the quietest road we can find. Cap G, any chance of seeing her? Capt Roman 1000, innocent, no, come along, and if you want me for the final obsequies, don't cut my eye out with your stick. Cap G, spinning round, I say, isn't she the dearest creature that ever walked? What's the time? What comes after? Wilt thou take this woman? Capt Roman 1000, you go for the ring, arclect, it'll be on the top of my right hand little finger, and just be careful how you draw it off, because I shall have the verger's fees somewhere in my glove. Cap G, walking forward hastily, D, the verger come along, it's past 12, and I haven't seen her since yesterday evening. Spinning round again, she's an absolute angel, Jack, and she's a dashed deal too good for me. Look here, does she come up the aisle on my arm, or how? Capt Roman 1000, if I thought that there was the least chance of your remembering anything for 2 consecutive minutes, I'd tell you stop passaging about like that. Cap G, halting in the middle of the road, I say, Jack. Capt Roman 1000, keep quiet for another 10 minutes, if you can, you lunatic, and walk. The 2 tramp at 5 miles an hour for 15 minutes. Cap G, what's the time? How about the cursed wedding cake? And the slippers, they don't throw 'em about in church, do they? Capt Roman 1000, invariably the padre leads off with his boots. Cap G, confound your silly soul, don't make fun of me, I can't stand it, and I want. Capt Roman 1000, untroubled Sioux, old horse, y'all have to sleep for a couple of hours this afternoon. Cap G, spinning round, I am not going to be treated like a dashed child understand that. Capt Roman 1000 aside, nerves gone to fiddlestrings. What a day we're having tenderly putting his hand on G.'s shoulder. My David, how long have you known this Jonathan, would I come up here to make a fool of you after all these years? Cap G penitently, I know Jack, but I am as upset as I can be, don't mind what I say, just hear me run through the drill, and see if I've got it all right to have, and to hold for better or worse, as it was in the beginning is now, and ever shall be world without end, so help me God, amen. Capt Roman 1000, suffocating with suppressed laughter, yes, that's about the gist of it, ill prompt if you get into a hat. Cap G earnestly, yes, y'all stick by me, Jack want you, I'm awfully happy, but I don't mind telling you that I am in a blue funk. Capt Roman 1000 gravely, are you? I should never have noticed it, you don't look like it. Cap G, don't I? That's all right, spinning round on my soul and honor, Jack, she's the sweetest little angel that ever came down from the sky, there isn't a woman on earth fit to speak to her. Capt Roman 1000 aside, and this is old Gandhi, aloud, go on if it relieves you. Cap G, you can laugh, that's all you wild asses of bachelors are fit for. Capt Roman 1000, drawling, you never would wait for the troop to come up, you aren't quite married, yet inno. Cap G, that reminds me, I don't believe I shall be able to get into any boots, let's go home, and try 'em on, hurries forward. Capt Roman 1000, wouldn't be in your shoes for anything that Asia has to offer. Cap G, spinning round, that just shows your hideous blackness of soulier dense stupidity or brutal narrow-mindedness. There's only one fault about you, you're the best of good fellows, and I don't know what I should have done without you, beauty, you aren't married, wags his head gravely, take a wife, Jack. Capt Roman 1000, with a face like a wall vase, who's for choice? Cap G, if you're going to be a blackguard, I am going on, what's the time? Capt Roman 1000 hums. And since 'twas very clear we drank only ginger beer. Faith, there must ha been some stingo in the ginger. Come back, you maniac, I'm going to take you home, and you're going to lie down. Cap G, what on earth do I want to lie down for? Capt Roman 1000, give me a light from your cheroot and see. Cap G, watching cheroot but quiver like a tuning fork, sweet state, I am in. Capt Roman 1000, you are ill, get you a peg, and y'all go to sleep. They return, and Roman 1000, compounds a forefinger peg. Cap G, oh bus it'll make me as drunk as an owl. Capt Roman 1000, curious thing, 'twon't have the slightest effect on you, drink it off, chuck yourself down there, and go to bed. Cap G, it's absurd, I shan't sleep, I know I shan't. Falls into heavy doze, at end of 7 minutes, Capt Roman 1000 watches him tenderly. Capt Roman 1000, poor old Gandhi, I've seen a few turned off before, but never one who went to the gallows in this condition, can't tell how it affects 'em, though it's the thoroughbreds that sweat when they're backed into double harness. And that's the man who went through the guns at Amturin, like a devil possessed of devils, leans over G. But this is worse than the guns, old pal, worse than the guns, isn't it? G turns in his sleep, and Roman 1000 touches him clumsily on the forehead, poor dear old Gaddy, I going like the rest of him, going like the rest of him, friend, that sticketh closer than a brother, 8 years dashed bit of a slip of a girl, 8 weeks, and where's your friend, smokes disconsolately, till church clock strikes 3. Capt Roman 1000, up with you, get into your kit. Capt Roman 100, already isn't it too soon, hadn't I better have a shave? Capt Roman 1000, no, you're all right, aside, he chip his chin to pieces. Capt Roman 100, what's the hurry? Capt Roman 1000, you've got to be there first. Capt Roman 100, to be stared at. Capt Roman 1000, exactly, you're part of the show, where's the burnisher, your spurs are in a shameful state. Capt G, gruffly, Jack, I be damned if you shall do that for me. Capt Roman 1000, more gruffly, dry up, and get dressed if I choose to clean your spurs, you're under my orders. Capt G dresses, Roman 1000 follow suit. Capt Roman 1000, critically walking round Mies yowl, don't look so like a criminal, ring gloves, feast, that's all right for me, let your mustache alone now, if the ponies are ready, well go. Capt G nervously, it's much too soon, let's light up, let's have a peg, let's. Capt Roman 1000, let's make bally asses of ourselves. Bells without. Good people to prayers we call. Capt Roman 1000, there go the bells, come unless you'd rather not they ride off. Bells! We honor the king and brides, joy do bring good tidings we tell, and ring the deads. Capt G dismounting at the door of the church, I say errant we much too soon, there are no end of people inside I say errant, we much too late stick by me Jack, what the devil do I do? Capt Roman 1000, strike an attitude at the head of the aisle, and wait for her G groans, as Roman 1000 wheels him into position before 300 eyes. Capt Roman 1000, imploringly Gaddy, if you love me for pity's sake for the honor of the regiment, stand up chuck yourself into your uniform look, like a man I've got to speak to the padre. A minute G breaks into a gentle perspiration your face, I'll never man again stand up visibly. If you wipe your face, I'll never be your best man again. Stand up G trembles visibly. Capt Roman 1000 returning, she's coming now look out, when the music starts there's the organ beginning to clack. Bride steps out of rickshaw at church door G, catches a glimpse of her, and takes heart. Organ! The voice that breathed o'er Eden. That earliest marriage. The primal marriage blessing. It hath not passed away. Capt Roman 1000 watching G, by Jove he is looking well didn't think he had it in him. Capt G how long does this hymn go on for? Capt Roman 1000, it will be over directly anxiously beginning to belch and gulp hold on Gabby, and think oh the regiment. Capt G measuredly, I say, there's a big brown lizard crawling up that wall. Capt Roman 1000, my sainted mother the last stage of collapse. Bride comes up to left of altar lifts her eyes once to G, who is suddenly smitten mad. Capt G to himself again and again, little featherweights a woman, and I thought she was a little girl. Capt Roman 1000 in a whisper form the Haltonward wheel. Capt G obeys mechanically, and the ceremony proceeds. Padre only unto her, as ye both shall live. Capt G his throat useless homum. Capt Roman 1000, say you will or you want there's no second deal here. Bride gives response with perfect calmness, and is given away by the father. Capt G thinking to show his learning Jack, give me away now quick. Capt Roman 1000 you've given yourself away quite enough, her right-hand man repeat Theodore Philip, have you forgotten your own name? Capt G stumbles through affirmation which Bride repeats without a tremor. Capt Roman 1000 now, the ring follow the padre don't pull off my glove here it is great Cupid, he's found his voice. Capt G repeats troth in a voice to be heard to the end of the church, and turns on his heel. Capt Roman 1000 desperately rein back to your troop, 'tisn't half legal yet. Padre join together, let no man put asunder. Capt G paralyzed with fear jibs after blessing. Capt Roman 1000 quickly, on your own fronton length, take her with you, I don't come you've nothing to say Capt G jingles up to altar. Capt Roman 1000 in a piercing rattle, meant to be a whisper kneel, you stiff-necked ruffian kneel. Padre whose daughters are ye so long as ye do well, and are not afraid with any amazement. Capt Roman 1000 dismiss break off left wheel. All troop to vestry they sign. Capt Roman 1000 kiss her Gaddy. Capt G rubbing the ink into his glove a watt. Capt Roman 1000, taking one pace to Bride if you don't I shall. Capt G interposing an arm not this journey. General kissing, in which Capt G is pursued by unknown female. Capt G faintly to Roman 1000, this is Hades can I wipe my face now? Capt Roman 1000, my responsibility has ended, better ask Mrs. Gadsby. Capt G winces, as though shot and procession, is Mendelssohned out of church to house, where usual tortures take place over the wedding cake. Capt Roman 1000, at table up with you Gaddy they expect a speech. Capt G after 3 minutes agony homum thunders of applause. Capt Roman 1000, deuced good for a first attempt now go and change your kit. While Mama is weeping over the Mrs. Capt G disappears. Capt Roman 1000, starts up tearing his hair, it's not half legal where are the shoes get an aya. I am Missy Captain Sahib done gone band caro all the duties. Capt Roman 1000 brandishing scab larded sword woman, produce those shoes, someone lend me a bread knife. We must crack Gaddy's head more than it is slice his heel off white satin slipper, and put slipper up his sleeve. Where is the bride to the company at large be tender, with that rice it's a heathen custom, give me the big bag. Bride slips out quietly into rickshaw, and departs toward the sunset. Capt Roman 1000 in the open stole away, by Jove so much the worse for Gaddy here, he is now Gaddy Thistle be livelier than Amberin, where's your horse? Capt G furiously seeing that the women are out of an earshot, where thay's my wife. Capt Roman 1000 halfway to Mahasu by this time, Y'all have to ride like young Lochinvar. Horse comes round on his hind legs, refuses to let G handle him. Cap G, oh you will you get round you brutu haju beast get round. Wrenches horse's head over nearly breaking lower, Jaw swings himself into saddle, and sends home both spurs in the midst of a spattering gale of best patna. Capt Roman 1000 for your life, and your love ride Gaddy and God bless you. Throws half a pound of rice at G, who disappears bowed forward on the saddle, in a cloud of sunlit dust. Capt Roman 1000 I've lost old Gaddy lights cigarette, and strolls off singing absently. You may carve it on his tombstone, you may cut it on his card, that a young man married is a young man marred. Miss Dearcourt from her horse, really Captain Mafflin, you are more plain-spoken than polite. Capt Roman 1000, aside they say marriage is like cholera wonder hall, be the next victim. White satin slipper slides from his sleeve, and falls at his feet left wondering. The Garden of Eden and ye shall be as gods. Seen timey grassplot at back of the Mahasu Dak Bungalow, overlooking little wooded valley, on the left glimpse of the dead forest of Fagu, on the right Simla Hills in background line of the snows Captain Gadsby. Now 3 weeks a husband is smoking the pipe of peace on a rug in the sunshine banjo, and tobacco pouch on rug, overhead the Fagu Eagles Mrs. G comes out of bungalow. Mrs. G, my husband Cap G lazily with intense enjoyment what say that again. Mrs. G, I've written to Mama, and told her that we shall be back on the 17th. Cap G, did you give her my love? Mrs. G, no, I kept all that for myself sitting down by his side, I thought you wouldn't mind. Cap G with mock sternness, I object awfully, how did you know that it was yours to keep? Mrs. G, I guessed. Cap G rapturously little featherweight. Mrs. G, I won T be called those sporting pet names bad boy. Cap G yowl be called anything I choose, has it ever occurred to you madam that you are my wife? Mrs. G, it has I haven't ceased wondering at it yet. Cap G nor Roman 1 it seems so strange, and yet somehow it doesn't confidently, you see it could have been no one else. Mrs. G softly no one else for me, or for you, it must have been all arranged from the beginning Phil tell me again, what made you care for me? Cap G how could I help it you were? Mrs. G, did you ever want to help it speak the truth? Cap G a twinkle in his eye, I did darling just at the first rut only at the very first chuckles, I called Youstip low and ill whisperer, little beast ho ho ho. Mrs. G taking him by the mustache, and making him sit up a little beast stop laughing over your crime, and yet you had thethuful cheek to propose to me. Capt Roman 100 id, changed my mind then, and you weren't a little beast any more. Mrs. G thank you sir, and when was I ever? Cap G never but that first day when you gave me tea in that peach-colored muslin gown thing. You look at you, did indeed dear such an absurd little mite, and I didn't know what to say to you. Mrs. G twisting mustache, so you said little beast upon my word sir, I called you a crrreacher, but I wish now I had called you something worse. Cap G very meekly I apologize, but you're hurting me awfully interlude, you're welcome to torture me again on those terms. Mrs. G, oh why did you let me do it? Cap G looking across valley, no reason in particular beautif, it amused you, or did you any good you might wipe those dear little boots of yours on me. Mrs. G stretching out her hands don't Philip, my king please, don't talk like that it's how I feel you're so much too good for me, so much too good. Cap G me I am not fit to put my arm around you puts it round. Mrs. Roman 100, yes you are but what have I ever done? Cap G given me a wee bit of your heart, haven't you my queen? Mrs. G, that's nothing anyone would do that they cow couldn't help it. Cap G pussy yowl, make me horribly conceited just, when I was beginning to feel so humble too. Mrs. G humble, I don't believe it's in your character. Cap G, what do you know of my character impertinence? Mrs. G ah, but I shan't I feel I shall have time in all the years and years, to come to know everything about you, and there will be no secrets between us. Cap G little witch, I believe you know me thoroughly already. Mrs. G, I think I can guess you're selfish. Cap G yes. Mrs. G foolish. Cap G very. Mrs. G and a dear. Cap G that is, as my lady pleases. Mrs. G, then your lady is pleased to pause do you know, that we're two solemn serious grown-up people capt, G tilting her straw hat over her eyes, you grown-up poo you're a baby. Mrs. G, and we're talking nonsense. Cap G then, let's go on talking nonsense. I rather like it. Pussy ill, tell you a secret promise not to repeat. Mrs. G ye's only to you. Cap G I love you. Mrs. G really for how long? Cap G forever and ever. Mrs. G that's a long time. Cap G thinks so it's the shortest I can do with. Mrs. G you're getting quite clever. Cap G I am talking to you. Mrs. G prettily turned hold up your stupid old head, and I'll pay you for it. Cap G affecting supreme contempt, take it yourself if you want it. Mrs. G I've a great mind toned I will takes it, and is repaid with interest. Cap G little featherweight it's my opinion, that we are a couple of idiots. Mrs. G we're the only two sensible people in the world, ask the eagle he's coming by. Cap G I dare say, he's seen a good many sensible people at Mahasu, they say that those birds live for ever so long. Mrs. G how long? Cap G 120 years. Mrs. G 120 years ooh. And in 120 years, where will these two sensible people be? Cap G, what does it matter so long as we are together now? Mrs. G looking round the horizon, yes only you and I and you in the whole wide world, until the end sees the line of the snows how big and quiet the hills look Diu, think they care for us. Cap G can't say I've consulted em particularly I care, and that's enough for me. Mrs. G drawing nearer to him, yes no but afterward, what's that little black blur on the snows? Cap G a snowstorm 40 miles away y'all see, it move as the wind carries it across the face of that spur, and then it will be all gone. Mrs. G and then it will be all gone shivers. Cap G anxiously not chilled pet, are you better let me get your cloak? Mrs. G no don't leave me Phil stay here I believe I am afraid oh, why are the hills so horrid Phil promise me, that y'all always love me. Cap G what's the trouble darling I can't promise any more than I have, but I'll promise that again and again if you like. Mr. G her head on his shoulder, say it then say it and nod on the theagles would laugh, recovering my husband you've married a little goose. Cap G very tenderly have I am content, whatever she is so long as she is mine. Mrs. G quickly because she is yours, or because she is me mineself. Cap G because she is both piteously I am not clever dear, and I don't think I can make myself understood properly. Mrs. G, I understand Pip will you tell me something? Cap G anything you like aside I wonder what's coming now. Mrs. G haltingly her eyes o'ered you told me once in the old day centuries and centuries, Agatha you had been engaged before I didn't say anything then. Cap G innocently why not? Mrs. G raising her eyes to his because I was afraid of losing you my heart, but now tell about it please. Cap G there's nothing to tell I was awfully old then nearly 22 and, she was quite that. Mrs. G, that means she was older than you I shouldn't like her to have been younger well. Cap G well, I fancied myself in love, and raved about a bit and oh yes by Jove, I made up poetry ha ha. Mrs. G, you never wrote any for me what happened? Cap G I came out here, and the whole thing went, but she wrote to say that there had been a mistake, and then she married. Mrs. G, did she care for you much? Cap G no, at least she didn't show it as far as I remember. Mrs. G, as far as you remember do you remember her name hears it, and bows her head thank you my husband. Cap G who, but you had the right now little featherweight, have you ever been mixed up in any dark and dismal tragedy? Mrs. G, if you call me Mrs. Gadsby p'raps I'll tell. Cap G throwing parade rasp into his voice, Mrs. Gadsby confess. Mrs. G, good heavens Phil I never knew that you could speak in that terrible voice. Cap G, you don't know half my accomplishments yet wait, till we are settled in the plains, and I'll show you how I bark at my troop you were going to say darling. Mrs. G I don't like to after that voice tremulously Phil, never you dare to speak to me in that tone, whatever I may do. Cap G my poor little love, why you're shaking all over I am so sorry of course, I never meant to upset you don't tell me anything I am a brute. Mrs. G no you aren't, and I will tell there was a man. Cap G lightly was there lucky. Mrs. G in a whisper, and I thought I cared for him. Cap G still luckier man. Mrs. G, and I thought I cared for him and I didn't and, then you came and I cared for you very much indeed, that's all face hidden you aren't angry are you? Cap G angry not in the least aside good lord, what have I done to deserve this angel? Mrs. G aside, and he never asked for the name how funny men are but perhaps it's as well. Cap G, that man will go to heaven, because you once thought you cared for him. Wonder if y'all ever drag me up there. Mrs. G, firmly shan't go if you don't. Cap G, thanks, I say pussy. I don't know much about your religious beliefs. You were brought up to believe in a heaven, and all that, weren't you? Mrs. G, yes, but it was a pincushion heaven with hymn books in all the pews. Cap G, wagging his head, with intense conviction, never mind, there is a pucka heaven. Mrs. G, where do you bring that message from, my prophet? Cap G, here, because we care for each other, so it's all right. Mrs. G, as a troop of langurs crash through the branches, so it's all right, but Darwin says that we came from those. Cap G, placidly, Darwin was never in love with an angel, that settles it, SSTT, you brutes, monkeys. Indeed, you shouldn't read those books. Mrs. G, folding her hands, if it pleases my lord the king, to issue proclamation. Cap G, don't, dear one, there are no orders between us, only id, rather you didn't they lead to nothing and bother people's heads. Mrs. G, like your first engagement. Cap G, with an immense calm, that was a necessary evil, and led to you, are you nothing? Mrs. G, not so very much am I. Cap G, all this world and the next to me. Mrs. G, very softly, my boy of boys, shall I tell you something? Cap G, yes, if it's not dreadful about other men. Mrs. G, it's about my own bad little self. Cap G, then it must be good, go on, dear. Mrs. G, slowly, I don't know why I am telling you, Pip, but if ever you marry again, interlude, take your hand from my mouth, or ill bite in the future, then remember I don't know quite how to put it. Cap G, snorting indignantly, don't try marry again, indeed. Mrs. G, I must listen, my husband, never 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 tell your wife anything that you do not wish her to remember, and think over all her life, because a womanize, I am a woman, can't forget. Cap G, by Jove, how do you know that? Mrs. G, confusedly, I don't, I am only guessing, I am, I was a silly little girl, but I feel that I know so much, oh, so very much more than you, dearest, to begin with, I am your wife. Cap G, so I have been led to believe. Mrs. G, and I shall want to know every one of your secrets, to share everything you know with you, stares round desperately. Cap G, so you shall, dear, so you shall, but don't look like that. Mrs. G, for your own sake, don't stop me, Phil, I shall never talk to you in this way again. You must not tell me, at least not now, later on, when I am an old matron it won't matter. But if you love me, be very good to me now for this part of my life. I shall never forget, have I made you understand? Cap G, I think so, child, have I said anything yet that you disapprove of? Mrs. G, will you be very angry, that voice, and what you said about the engagement? Cap G, but you asked to be told that, darling. Mrs. G, and that's why you shouldn't have told me. You must be the judge, and oh, Pip, dearly, as I love you, I shan't be able to help you, I shall hinder you. And you must judge in spite of me. Cap G, meditatively, we have a great many things to find out together, God help us both, say, so pussibut, we shall understand each other better every day. And I think I'm beginning to see now how in the world did you come to know just the importance of giving me just that lead. Mrs. G, I've told you that I don't know, only somehow it seemed that, in all this new life, I was being guided for your sake as well as my own. Cap G, aside, then, Mafflin was right, they know, and we were blind, all of us, lightly getting a little beyond our depth, dear errant, we ill remember, and if I fail, let me be punished as I deserve. Mrs. G, there shall be no punishment, well, start into life together, from here you and Ian, no one else. Cap G, and no one else, a pause, your eyelashes are all wet, sweet, was there ever such a quaint little absurdity? Mrs. G, was there ever such nonsense talked before? Cap G, knocking the ashes out of his pipe, tisn't what we say, it's what we don't say that helps, and it's all the profoundest philosophy, but no one would understand even if it were put into a book. Mrs. G, the idea, noonly we ourselves, or people like ourselves, if there are any people like us. Cap G, magisterially, all people not like ourselves are blind idiots. Mrs. G, wiping her eyes, do you think then that there are any people as happy as we are? Cap G, must buneless we've appropriated all the happiness in the world. Mrs. G, looking toward Simla, poor dears, just fancy if we have. Cap G, then well, hang on to the whole show, for it's a great deal too jolly to losey wife o' mine. Mrs. G, oh, Pip, Pip, how much of you is a solemn married man, and how much a horrid slangy schoolboy? Cap G, when you tell me how much of you was 18 last birthday, and how much is as old as the Sphinx, and twice as mysterious, perhaps ill, attend to you, lend me that banjo, the spirit moveth me to jowl at the sunset. Mrs. G mind it's not tuned how that jars. Cap G turning pegs, it's amazingly different to keep a banjo to proper pitch. Mrs. G, it's the same with all musical instruments, what shall it be? Cap G vanity, and let the hills hear sings through the first and howl of the second verse, turning to Mrs. G now chorus sing pussy. Both together con brio to the horror of the monkeys, who are settling for the night. Vanity all is vanity, said wisdom scorning me. I clasped my true love's tender hand, and answered frank and free. If this be vanity, who'd be wise? If this be vanity, who'd be wise? If this be vanity, who'd be was crescendo vanity, let it be. Mrs. G, defiantly to the grey of the evening sky vanity, let it be. Echo prom the fagu spur, let it be. Fatima. And you may go in every room of the house and see everything that is there, but into the blue room you must not go. The story of Blue Beard. Seen the Gadsbys bungalow in the plains time, 11 a Roman 1000 on a Sunday morning, Captain Gadsby in his shirt sleeves is bending over a complete set of hussar's equipment from saddle to picketing rope, which is neatly spread over the floor of his study. He is smoking an unclean briar, and his forehead is puckered with thought. Cap G to himself, fingering a headstall jacks, and asks there's enough brass on this to load a mullind. If the Americans know anything about anything, it can be cut down to a bit. Only don't want the watering bridle either. Humbug half a dozen sets of chains and pulleys for one horse rot scratching his head. Now let's consider it all over from the beginning. By Jove, I've forgotten the scale of weights near mind. Keep the bit only and eliminate every boss from the crupper to breastplate. No breastplate at all, simple leather strap across the breastleg. The Russians high, Jack never thought of that. Mrs. G entering hastily, her hand bound in a cloth. Oh Pip, I've scalded my hand over that horrid tippery jam. Cap G absently, eb what? Mrs. G with rounded reproach, I've scalded it awfully, aren't you sorry? And I did so want that jam to jam properly. Cap G, poor little woman, let me kiss the place and make it well. Unrolling bandage, you small sinner, where's that scald? I can't see it. Mrs. G on the top of the little finger, there it's a most 'normous big burn. Cap G kissing little finger, baby, let hider look after the jam, you know, I don't care for sweets. Mrs. G, indeed Pep. Cap G, not of that kind anyhow, and now run along Minnie, and leave me to my own base devices, I am busy. Mrs. G calmly settling herself in long chair, so I see what a mess you're making. Why have you brought all that smelly leather stuff into the house? Cap G, to play with, do you mind? Mrs. G, let me play too, I'd like it. Cap G, I am afraid you wouldn't, pussy. Don't you think that jam will burn, or whatever it is that jam does when it's not looked after by a clever little housekeeper? Mrs. G, I thought you said Hyder could attend to it. I left him in the veranda stirring when I hurt myself so. Cap G, his eye returning to the equipment. Poor little woman, 3 pounds 4 and 7 is 311, and that can be cut down to 2.8, with just a little care without weakening anything. Farriery is all rot in incompetent hands. What's the use of a shoecase when a man's scouting he can't stick it on with a lick like a stampa shoe? Skittles. Mrs. G, what Skittles, pa? What is this leather cleaned with? Cap G, cream and champagne. And look here, dear, do you really want to talk to me about anything important? Mrs. G, no, I've done my accounts, and I thought I'd like to see what you're doing. Cap G, well love, now you've seen, and would you mind, that is to say Minnie, I really am busy. Mrs. G, you want me to go? Cap G, yes dear, for a little while this tobacco will hang in your dress, and saddlery doesn't interest you. Mrs. G, everything you do interests me, Pip. Cap G, yes, I know dear, I'll tell you all about it some day, when I've put a head on this thing. In the meantime. Mrs. G, I am to be turned out of the room like a troublesome child. Cap G, no, I don't mean that exactly, but you see I shall be tramping up and down shifting these things to and fro, and I shall be in your way, don't you think so? Mrs. G, can't I lift them about? Let me try. Reaches forward to Trooper's saddle. Cap G, good gracious child, don't touch it, y'all hurt yourself picking up saddle. Little girls aren't expected to handle numdas now. Where would you like it? Put holds saddle above his head. Mrs. G, a break in her voice, nowhere Pip, how good you are and how strong. Oh, what's that ugly red streak inside your arm? Cap G, lowering saddle quickly, nothing, it's a mark of sorts. Aside. And Jack's coming to tiffin with his notions all cut and dried. Mrs. G, I know it's a mark, but I've never seen it before. It runs all up the arm. What is it? Cap G, cute if you want to know. Mrs. G want to know, of course, I do. I can't have my husband cut to pieces in this way. How did it come? Was it an accident? Tell me, Pip. Cap G grimly, no, twasn't an accident. I got it from a man in Afghanistan. Mrs. G in action, oh Pip, and you never told me. Cap G id forgotten all about it. Mrs. G hold up your arm, what a horrid ugly scar, are you sure it doesn't hurt now? How did the man give it you? Cap G desperately looking at his watch, with a knife I came down old Van Loo, did that's to say, and fell on my leg. So I couldn't run. And then this man came up, and began chopping at me as I sprawled. Mrs. G, oh don't that's enough, well what happened? Cap G, I couldn't get to my holster, and Mafflin came round the corner and stopped the performance. Mrs. G, how he's such a lazy man, I don't believe he Roman 999. Cap G, don't you? I don't think the man had much doubt about it. Jack cut his head off. Mrs. G cut his head off, with one blow as they say in the books. Cap G, I am not sure, I was too interested in myself to know much about it, anyhow the head was off. And Jack was punching old Van Loo in the ribs, to make him get up. Now you know all about it, dear, and now. Mrs. G, you want me to go, of course, you never told me about this, though I've been married to you for ever so long, and you never would have told me if I hadn't found out, and you never do tell me anything about yourself, or what you do, or what you take an interest in. Cap G, darling, I'm always with you, aren't I? Mrs. G, always in my pocket, you were going to say, I know you are, but you are always thinking away from me. Cap G trying to hide a smile, am I wasn't aware of it, I am awfully sorry. Mrs. G piteously, oh don't make fun of me, Pip, you know what I mean when you are reading one of those things about cavalry. By that idiotic Princeway, doesn't he be a prince, instead of a stable boy? Cap G, Princecraft a stable boy, oh, my aunt, never mind, dear, you were going to say. Mrs. G, it doesn't matter, you don't care for what I say, only you get up and walk about the room staring in front of you, and then Mafflin comes in to dinner. And after I am in the drawing room, I can hear you and him talking and talking and talking about things I can't understand, and oh I get so tired, and feel so lonely. I don't want to complain and be a trouble, Pip. But I do, indeed I do. Cap G, my poor darling, I never thought of that. Why don't you ask some nice people in to dinner? Mrs. G, nice people, where am I to find them, horrid frumps, and if I did I shouldn't be amused, you know I only want you. Cap G, and you have me surely, sweetheart. Mrs. G, I have not, Pip, why don't you take me into your life? Cap G, more than I do, that would be difficult, dear. Mrs. G, yes, I suppose it would, to you, I am no help to you, no companion to you, and you like to have it so. Cap G, aren't you a little unreasonable, puss? Mrs. G, stamping her foot, I am the most reasonable woman in the world when I am treated properly. Cap G, and since when have I been treating you improperly? Mrs. G, always, and since the beginning you know you have. Cap G, I don't, but I am willing to be convinced. Mrs. G, pointing to saddlery there. Cap G, how do you mean? Mrs. G, what does all that mean? Why am I not to be told, is it so precious? Cap G, I forget its exact government value. Just at present, it means that it is a great deal too heavy. Mrs. G, then why do you touch it? Cap G, to make it lighter. See here, little love, I've one notion and Jack has another. But we are both agreed that all this equipment is about 30 pounds too heavy. The thing is how to cut it down without weakening any part of it, and at the same time allowing the trooper to carry everything he wants for his own comfort, socks and shirts and things of that kind. Mrs. G, why doesn't he pack them in a little trunk? Cap G, kissing her, oh you darling, pack them in a little trunk. Indeed hussars don't carry trunks, and it's a most important thing to make the horse do all the carrying. Mrs. G, but why need you bother about it, you're not a trooper. Cap G, no, but I command a few score of him, and equipment is nearly everything in these days. Mrs. G, more than me. Cap G, stupid, of course not, but it's a matter that I am tremendously interested in, because if I or Jack or I and Jack work out some sort of lighter saddlery, and all that, it's possible that we may get it adopted. Mrs. G, how? Cap G, sanctioned at home, where they will make a sealed pattern, a pattern that all the saddlers must copy, and so it will be used by all the regiments. Mrs. G, and that interests you? Cap G, it's part of my profession, and my profession is a good deal to me. Everything in a soldier's equipment is important, and if we can improve that equipment, so much the better for the soldiers, and for us. Mrs. G, who's us? Cap G, Jack, and I only Jack's notions are too radical. What's that big sigh for Minnie? Mrs. G, oh Nothingan, you've kept all this a secret from me, why? Cap G, not a secret exactly, dear. I didn't say anything about it to you, because I didn't think it would amuse you. Mrs. G, and am I only made to be amused? Cap G, no of course, I merely mean that it couldn't interest you. Mrs. G, it's your work and if you'd let me id count all these things up, if they are too heavy you know by how much they are too heavy, and you must have a list of things made out to your scale of lightness. And Cap G, I have got both scales somewhere in my head, but it's hard to tell how light you can make a headstall, for instance, until you've actually had a model made. Mrs. G, but if you read out the list, I could copy it down and pin it up there just above your table, wouldn't that do? Cap G, it would be awfully nice, dear, but it would be giving you trouble for nothing. I can't work that way. I go by rule of thumb. I know the present scale of weights, and the other one, the one that I am trying to work total shift, and vary so much that I couldn't be certain even if I wrote it down. Mrs. G, I am so sorry. I thought I might help. Is there anything else that I could be of use in? Cap G, looking round the room, I can't think of anything. You're always helping me, you know. Mrs. G, am I how? Cap G, you are of course, and as long as you're near me I can't explain exactly, but it's in the Mrs. G, and that's why you wanted to send me away. Cap G, that's only when I'm trying to do grubby work like this. Mrs. G, Mafflin's better then, isn't he? Cap G, rashly of course he is, Jack, and I have been thinking along the same groove for 2 or 3 years about this equipment. It's our hobby, and it may really be useful some day. Mrs. G, after a pause, and that's all that you have away from me. Cap G, it isn't very far away from you now. Take care the oil on that bit doesn't come off on your dress. Mrs. G, I wish so much that I could really help you. I believe I could if I left the room, but that's not what I mean. Cap G, aside, give me patience. I wish she would go aloud. I assure you you can't do anything for me, Minnie, and I must really settle down to this. Where's my pouch? Mrs. G, crossing to Riddingtable, here you are, Bear, what a mess you keep your table. Cap G, don't touch it. There's a method in my madness, though you might think of it. Mrs. G, at table, I want to look. Do you keep accounts, Pip? Cap G, bending over saddlery of a sort. Are you rummaging among the troop papers? Be careful. Mr. G, why I shan't disturb anything. Good gracious, I had no idea that you had anything to do with so many sick horses. Cap G, wish I hadn't, but they insist on falling sick, Minnie. If I were you I really should not investigate those papers. You may come across something that you want, like. Mrs. G, why will you always treat me like a child? I know, I am not displacing the horrid things. Cap G, resignedly, very well, then don't blame me if anything happens. Play with the table, and let me go on with the saddlery, slipping hand into trouser's pocket. Oh, the deuce. Mrs. G, her back to G, what's that for? Cap G, nothing, aside, there's not much in it, but I wish I'd torn it up. Mrs. G, turning over contents of table, I know y'all hate me for this, but I do want to see what your work is like. A pause, Pip, what are farcibuds? Cap G, Hab, would you really like to know? They aren't pretty things. Mrs. G, this Journal of Veterinary Science says they are of absorbing interest. Tell me. Cap G, aside, it may turn her attention. Gives a long and designedly loathsome account of glanders and farcy. Mrs. G, oh, that's enough, don't go on. Cap G, but you wanted to know then these things suppurate and maturate and spread. Mrs. G, Pinure, making me sick. You're a horrid, disgusting schoolboy. Cap G, on his knees among the bridles, you ask to be told. It's not my fault if you worry me into talking about horrors. Mrs. G, why didn't you say no? Cap G, good heavens, child, have you come in here simply to bully me? Mrs. G, I bully you? How could I? You're so strong, hysterically strong enough to pick me up and put me outside the door and leave me there to cry, aren't you? Cap G, it seems to me that you're an irrational little baby. Are you quite well? Mrs. G, do I look ill? Returning to table, who is your lady friend with the big gray envelope and the fat monogram outside? Cap G, aside, then it wasn't locked up. Confound it, allowed God made her, therefore let her pass for a woman. You remember what farcibuds are like. Mrs. G, showing envelope, this has nothing to do with them. I'm going to open it. Cap G, certainly, if you want to id sooner. You didn't, though. I don't ask to look at your letters to the Deercourt girl. Mrs. G, you'd better not, sir. Takes letter from envelope. Now may I look? If you say no, I shall cry. Cap G, you've never cried in my knowledge of you, and I don't believe you could. Mrs. G, I feel very like it today. Pip, don't be hard on me. Reads letter. It begins in the middle without any dear Captain Gadsby, or anything how funny. Cap G aside, no, it's not dear Captain Gadsby, or anything now how funny. Mrs. G, what a strange letter. Reads, and so the moth has come too near the candle at last, and has been singed in Toshall. I say respectability, I congratulate him, and hope he will be as happy as he deserves to be. What does that mean? Is she congratulating you about our marriage? Cap G, yes, I suppose so. Mrs. G, still reading letter, she seems to be a particular friend of yours. Cap G, yes, she was an excellent matron of sorts, a Mrs. Harriot, wife of a Colonel Harriot. I used to know some of her people at home long ago before I came out. Mrs. G, some colonels' wives are young as me. I knew one who was younger. Cap G, then it couldn't have been Mrs. Harriot. She was old enough to have been your mother, dear. Mrs. G, I remember now, Mrs. Scargill was talking about her at the Dutfins tennis, before you came for me on Tuesday. Captain Mafflin said she was a dear old woman. Do you know, I think Mafflin is a very clumsy man with his feet. Cap G, aside, good old Jack. Aloud, why dear? Mrs. G, he had put his cup down on the ground then, and he literally stepped into it. Some of the tea spurted over my dress, the gray one. I meant to tell you about it before. Cap G, aside, there are the makings of a strategist about Jack, though his methods are coarse. Aloud, you'd better get a new dress. Then, aside, let us pray that that will turn her. Mrs. G, oh, it isn't stained in the least. I only thought that I'd tell you, returning to letter, what an extraordinary person. Reads, but need I remind you that you have taken upon yourself a charge of wardship? What in the world is a charge of wardship which, as you yourself know, may end in consequences? Cap G, aside, it's safest to let him see everything as they come across it, but seems to me that there are exceptions to the rule. Aloud, I told you that there was nothing to be gained from rearranging my table. Mrs. G, absently, what does the woman mean? She goes on talking about consequences, almost inevitable consequences, with a capital C, for half a page, flushing scarlet. Oh, good gracious, how abominable. Cap G, promptly, do you think so? Doesn't it show a sort of motherly interest in us? Aside, thank heaven Harry always wrapped her meaning up safely. Aloud, is it absolutely necessary to go on with the letter, darling? Mrs. G, it's impertinent, it's simply horrid. What right has this woman to write in this way to you? She oughtn't to. Cap G, when you write to the Deercourt girl, I notice that you generally fill 3 or 4 sheets. Can't you let an old woman babble on paper once in a way? She means well. Mrs. G, I don't care, she shouldn't write, and if she did you ought to have shown me her letter. Cap G, can't you understand why I kept it to myself, or must I explain at lengths? I explained the farcibuds. Mrs. G, furiously, Pip, I hate you. This is as bad as those idiotic saddlebags on the floor. Never mind whether it would please me or not, you ought to have given it to me to read. Cap G, it comes to the same thing, you took it yourself. Mrs. G, yes, but if I hadn't taken it, you wouldn't have said a word. I think this Harriot's like a name in a bookie's, an interfering old thing. Cap G, aside, so long as you thoroughly understand that she is old, I don't much care what you think. Aloud, very good, dear. Would you like to write and tell her so? She's 7,000 miles away. Mrs. G, I don't want to have anything to do with her, but you ought to have told me, turning to last page of letter. And she patronizes me too. I've never seen her. Reads, I do not know how the world stands with you. In all human probability, I shall never know. But whatever I may have said before, I pray for her sake more than for yours that all may be well. I have learned what misery means, and I dare not wish that anyone dear to you should share my knowledge. Cap G, good God, can't you leave that letter alone, or at least can't you refrain from reading it? Aloud, I've been through it once. Put it back on he desk, do you hear me? Mrs. G, irresolutely, Shan't looks at G.'s eyes. Oh, Pip, please. I didn't mean to make you angry, deed. I didn't, Pip, I am so sorry. I know I've wasted your time. Cap G, grimly, you have now. Will you be good enough to goif? There is nothing more in my room that you are anxious to pry into. Mrs. G, putting out her hands. Oh, Pip, don't look at me like that. I've never seen you look like that before, and it hurts me. I am sorry. I oughtn't to have been here at all. Anandan, sobbing. Oh, be good to me, be good to me. There's only Yuaniware, breaks down in long chair, hiding face in cushions. Cap G, aside, she doesn't know how she flicked me on the raw. Aloud, bending over chair. I didn't mean to be harsh, dear. I didn't really. You can stay here as long as you please. And do what you please. Don't cry like that. Y'all make yourself sick. Aside, what on earth has come over her? Aloud, darling, what's the matter with you? Mrs. G her face still hidden let me go to my own room. Onlyanly, say you aren't angry with me. Cap G angry with you love of course, not I was angry with myself. Id lost my temper over the saddlery don't hide your face pussy, I want to kiss it. Ben's lower Mrs. G slides right arm round his neck several interludes, and much sobbing. Mrs. G, in a whisper, I didn't mean about the jam when I came in to tell you. Cap G bother the jam, and the equipment interlude. Mrs. G still more faintly, my finger wasn't scalded at all I wanted to speak to you, about something else and I didn't know how. Cap G speak away, then looking into her eyes what Minnie here, don't go away you don't mean. Mrs. G hysterically backing to portiere, and hiding her face in its folds. The almost inevitable consequences, flits through portiere as G attempts to catch her, and bolts herself in her own room. Cap G his arms full of portiere sitting down heavily in chair, I am a brutia piga bully. And a blackguard my poor little darling, made to be amused only. The Valley of the Shadow knowing good and evil. Seen the Gadsbys bungalow in the plains in June Punkakuli's asleep in veranda, where Captain Gadsby is walking up, and down Doctor's trap in porch Junior Chaplain, drifting generally, and uneasily through the house time 340, a Roman 1000 heat 94 degrees in veranda. Doctor coming into veranda, and touching G on the shoulder, you had better go in and see her now. Cap G the color of good cigarette, what oh yes of course, what did you say? Doctor syllable by syllable going to the romancier, she wants to speak to you aside testily, I shall have him on my hands next. Junior Chaplain in half-lighted dining room, isn't there any? Doctor Savely, HSH you little. Junior Chaplain let me do my work, Gadsby, stop a minute edges after G. Doctor wait, till she sends for you at least man, alive hell kill you if you go in there, what are you bothering him for? Junior Chaplain coming into veranda, I've given him a stiff brandipig, he wants it you've forgotten him for the last 10 hours and forgotten yourself too. Cap G enters bedroom which is lit by one nightlamp Ayak, on the floor pretending to be asleep. Voice from the bed, all down the street such bonfires I go, and put them out appealingly, how can I sleep with an installation of the Roman 100 Roman 1 E in my room, not Roman 100 Roman 1 E something else what was it? Cap G trying to control his voice Minnie I am here, bending over bed don't, you know me Minnie it's mates Phil it's your husband. Voice mechanically, it's mates Phil it's your husband. Cap G, she doesn't know Mel it's your own husband darling. Voice your own husband darling Aya, with an inspiration Mem Sahib, understanding all I saying. Cap G make her understand me thankwick. Aya hand on Mrs. G's forehead, Mem Sahib Captain Sahib here. Voice Salim do fretfully, I know I am not fit to be seen. Aya aside to G say Marneen same as breakfast. Cap G good morning little woman how are we today? Voice that's Phil poor old Phil, viciously Phil you fool I can't see you come nearer. Cap G Minnie it's may you know me. Voice mockingly, of course I do who does not know the man who was so cruel to his wife almost, the only one he ever had. Cap G yes dear yes of course, but want you speak to him, he wants to speak to you so much. Voice they'd never let him in the doctor would give Darwaza Bund, even if he were in the house hell, never come despairingly, oh Judas Judas Judas. Cap G putting out his arms they have let him in, and he always was in the house, oh my love don't you know me. Voice in a half chant, and it came to pass at the 11th hour that this poor soul repented it knocked at the gates, but they were shutite as a plaster a great burning plaster, they had pasted our marriage certificate all across the door, and it was made of red-hot iron people really ought to be more careful you know. Cap G, what am I to do taking her in his arms Minnie speak to me of. Voice what shall I say, oh tell me what to say before it's too late, they are all going away, and I can't say anything. Cap G say you know me only say you know me. Doctor who has entered quietly for pity's sake, don't take it too much to heart Gadsby it's this way, sometimes they want recognize, they say all sorts of queer things don't you see. Cap G all right go away, now shall recognize me you're bothering her she must she. Doctor she will before have I your leave to try. Cap G anything you please so long as shall know me it's only a question offers isn't it. Doctor professionally, while there's life there's hope inno, but don't build on it. Cap G, I don't pull her together if it's possible aside, what have I done to deserve this? Doctor bending over bed now Mrs. Gadsby, We shall be all right tomorrow, you must take it, or I shan't let Phil see you. It isn't nasty, is it? Voice medicines, always more medicines, can't you leave me alone? Cap Go, leave her in peace, doc. Doctor stepping back aside, may I be forgiven, if I've none wrong aloud in a few minutes, she ought to be sensible, but I daren't tell you to look for anything, it's only. Cap G, what go on, man? Doctor in a whisper, forcing the last rally. Cap G, then leave us alone. Doctor, don't mind what she says at first if you can faithfully turn against those they love, most sometimes in this it's hard, but. Cap G, am I her husband, or are you leave us alone for what time we have together? Voice confidentially, and we were engaged quite suddenly, Emma, I assure you that I never thought of it for a moment. But oh my little me, I don't know what I should have done if he hadn't proposed. Cap G, she thinks of that dear court girl, before she thinks of me, aloud Minnie. Voice, not from the shops, mummy dear, you can get the real leaves from Kintu, and laughing weakly, never mind about the blossoms, dead white silk, is only fit for widows, and I want wear it, it's as bad as a winding sheet. A long pause. Cap G, I never asked a favor, yet if there is anybody to listen to me, let her know meven if I die too. Voice very faintly, Pip Pip dear. Cap G, I am here, darling. Voice, what has happened? They've been bothering me so with medicines and things, and they wouldn't let you come and see me. I was never ill before, am I ill now? Cap G, yow, you aren't quite well. Voice, how funny, have I been ill long? Cap G, someday, but y'all be all right in a little time. Voice, do you think so, Pip? I don't feel well, and oh, what have they done to my hair? Cap G, I don't know. Voice, they've cut it off, what a shame. Cap G, it must have been to make your head cooler. Voice, just like a boy's wig, don't I look horrid? Cap G, never looked prettier in your life, dear. Aside, how am I to ask her to say goodbye? Voice, I don't feel pretty, I feel very Roman 99. My heart won't work, it's nearly dead inside me. And there's a funny feeling in my eyes, everything seems the same distance you. And the almirah, and the table inside my eyes, or miles away, what does it mean, Pip? Cap G, you're a little feverish, sweetheart, feverish, breaking down, my love, how can I let you go? Voice, I thought so, why didn't you tell me that at first? Cap G, what? Voice, that I am going toady. Cap G, but you aren't, you shan't. Aya to Punkakuli, stepping into veranda, after a glance at the bed, Punka, chore, do stop pulling the punka. Voice, it's hard, Pip, so very, very hard after 1 year, just 1 year. Wailing, and I am only 20, most girls aren't even married at 20, can't they do anything to help me? I don't want to die. Cap G, hush dear, you want. Voice, what's the use of talking, help me, you've never failed me, yet oh Phil, help me to keep alive, feverishly. I don't believe you wish me to live, you weren't a bit sorry when that horrid baby thing died, I wish I'd killed it. Cap G, drawing his hand across his forehead, it's more than a man's meant to bear, it's not right, aloud Minnie love, I'd die for you if it would help. Voice, no more death, there's enough already, Pip, don't you die too. Cap G, I wish I dared. Voice, it says, till death do us part, nothing after that end. So it would be no use, it stops at the dying, why does it stop there? Only such a very short life too, Pip, I am sorry, we married. Cap G, know anything but that, Voice, because y'all forget, and ill forget, oh Pip. Don't forget, I always loved you, though I was cross sometimes. If I ever did anything that you didn't like, say you forgive me now. Cap G, you never did, darling, on my soul. And honor you never, Roman 999. I haven't a thing to forgive you. Voice, I sulked for a whole week about those petunias, with a laugh, what a little wretch I was. And how grieved you were, forgive me that PP. Cap G, there's nothing to forgive, it was my fault, they were too near the drive, for God's sake. Don't talk so, Minnie, there's such a lot to say, and so little time to say it in. Voice, say that y'all always love me till the end. Cap G, until the end carried away, it's a lie, it must be, because we've loved each other, this isn't the end. Voice, relapsing into semi-delirium, my church service has an ivor across on the back, and it says so it must be true, till death do us part, but that's a lie with a parody of G.S. Manor, a damned lie recklessly, yes. I can swear as well as a trooper, Pip. I can't make my head think, though that's because they cut off my hair, how can one think with one's head, all fuzzy, pleadingly hold me, Pip. Keep me with you always, and always relapsing. But if you marry the Thorness girl, when I am dead ill come back, and howl under our bedroom window all night, oh bother yowl, think I'm a jackal, Pip, what time is it? Cap G, a little before the dawn. Voice, I wonder where I shall be this time tomorrow. Cap G, would you like to see the pot? Voice, why should I he tell me that I am going to heaven? And that wouldn't be true, because you are here, do you recollect? When he upset the creamus all over his trousers at the Gassers' tennis. Capt G, yes dear. Voice, I often wondered whether he got another pair of trousers. But then his are so shiny all over that you really couldn't tell, unless you were told. Let's call him in and ask. Cap G, gravely, no, I don't think he'd like that your head comfy, sweetheart. Voice, faintly with a sigh of contentment, yeth gracious Pip. When did you shave last? Your chin's worse than the barrel of a musical box. No. Don't lift it up, I like it. A pause. You said you've never cried at all. You're crying all over my cheek. Cap G, I can't help it, dear. Voice, how funny, I couldn't cry now to save my life. G, shivers, I want to sing. Cap G, want it tire, you better not perhaps. Voice, why I want be bothered about, begins in a hoarse quaver. Minnie bakes oaten cake, Minnie brews ale, all because her Johnny's coming home from the sea. That's parade Pip. And she grows red as a rose, who was so pale. And are you sure the church clock goes, says she. Pettishly, I knew I couldn't take the last note. How do the bass chords run? Puts out her hands, and begins playing piano on the sheet. Cap G, catching up hands, ah, don't do that, pussy, if you love me. Voice, love you, of course I do, who else should it be? A pause. Voice, very clearly Pip, I am going now, something's choking me cruelly, indistinctly, into the dark without you, my heart, but it's a lie, dear, we mustn't believe it forever. And ever living or dead, don't let me go, my husband hold me tight, they can't, whatever happens, a cough, Pip me Pip, not for always, Sansa. Soon voice ceases. Pause of 10 minutes. G buries his face in the side of the bed, while Aya bends over bed from opposite side, and feels Mrs. G's breast and forehead. Cap G, rising, Dr. Sahib, ko salam do. Aya still by bedside with a shriek, ale tudafuda, my mem sahib, not getting not have got pussina agil. The sweat has come fiercely to G tum jow, Dr. Sahib. Ko jaldi, you go to the doctor, oh my mem sahib. Doctor entering hastily, come away. Gadsby bends over bed, ebb. The dev, what inspired you to stop the punkab? Get out, mango, away, wait outside, go here. Aya over his shoulder. To G, mind, I promise nothing. The dawn breaks as G stumbles into the garden. Capt Roman 1000, rehung up at the gate on his way to parade, and very soberly, old man, how goes? Cap G, dazed, I don't quite know, stay a bit, have a drink, or something, don't run away, you're just getting amusing, ha ha. Capt Roman 1000, aside, what am I let in for? Gaddy has aged 10 years in the night. Cap G, slowly fingering charger's headstall, your curb's too loose. Capt Roman 1000, so it is, put it straight, will you aside, I shall be late for parade, poor Gaddy. Cap G links and unlinks curb chain aimlessly, and finally stands staring toward the veranda. The day brightens. Doctor, knocked out of professional gravity, tramping across flower beds, and shaking G's hands, it sits, Gadsby, there's a fair chance, fair chance, the flicker inno the sweat inno. I saw how it would be the punkab, inno deuced clever woman, that ire of yours stopped. The punkab just at the right time, a dashed good chance, no you, don't go in, well, pull her through, yet I promise on my reputation under Providence, send a man with this note, to bingle 2 heads better than one, specially, the Aya, well, pull her round, retreats hastily to house. Cap G, his head on neck of Roman 1000's charger, Jack, I bub you believe I am going to make a bloody exhibit of myself. Capt Roman 1000, sniffing openly, and feeling in his left cuff, I believe ib doing it. Already old bad, what cad I say, ib as pleased as cod dab you gaddy, you're one big idiot, and ib a dother pulling himself together, sit tight, here comes the devil dodger. Junior chaplain, who is not in the doctor's confidence, we are only men in these things, Gadsby, I know that I can say nothing now to help. Capt Roman 1000 jealously, then don't say it, leave him alone, it's not bad enough to croak over here. Gaddy, take the chit to bingle, and ride hell for leather, it'll do you good, I can't go. Junior chaplain, do him good, smiling, give me the chit, and ill drive, let him lie down, your horse is blocking my cart, please. Capt Roman 1000 slowly, without reining back, I beg your pardon, I'll apologize on paper if you like. Junior chaplain, flicking Roman 1000's charger, that'll do, thanks, turn in, Gadsby, and ill bring bingle back a him hill for leather. Capt Roman 1000 soulless, it would have served me right if he'd cut me across the face, he can drive too, I shouldn't care to go that pace in a bamboo cart. What a faith he must have in his Makarov harness, come hup, You brute gallops off to parade blowing his nose as the sun rises. Interval of 5 weeks. Mrs. G very white and pinched in morning wrapper at break-fast table. How big and strange the room looks, and how glad I am to see it again. What dost thou? I must talk to the servants. Sugar pip, I've almost forgotten. Seriously, wasn't I very ill? Cap G iller than I liked. Tenderly, oh you bad little pussy, what a start you gave me. Mrs. G, ill, never do it again. Cap G, you'd better not, and now get those poor pale cheeks pink again, or I shall be angry. Don't try to lift the urn, yowl, upset it. Wait comes round to head of table and lifts urn. Mrs. G quickly kitmatger howarkikana see Ketley Lau butler, get a kettle from the cookhouse, drawing down G's face, to her own pip. Dear, I remember. Cap G, what? Mrs. G, that last terrible night. Cap G, then just you forget all about it. Mrs. G softly, her eyes filling. Never, it has brought us very close together, my husband. Their interlude I am going to give Jundo a sari. Cap G, I gave her 50 dibs. Mrs. G, so she told me it was enormous reward. Was I worth it? Several interludes don't. Here's the kitmatger, 2 lumps or 1, sir. The swelling of Jordan. If thou hast run with the footmen, and they have wearied thee, then how canst thou contend with horses? And if in the land of peace, wherein thou trustedst, they wearied thee, then how wilt thou do in the swelling of Jordan? Seen the Gadsbys' bungalow in the plains on a January morning, Mrs. G arguing with bearer in back veranda. Capt Roman 1000 rides up. Capt Roman 1000 mornin', Mrs. Gadsby, how's the infant phenomenon, and the proud proprietor? Mrs. G yowl, find them in the front veranda, go through the house, I am Martha just now. Capt M cumbered about with cares of kitmatgers, I fly. Passes into front veranda, where Gadsby is watching Gadsby Jr. aged 10 months, crawling about the matting. Capt Roman 1000, what's the trouble? Gad spoiling an honest man's Europe morning. This way, seeing G Jr. by Jove, that yearlings come on amazingly any amount of bone below the knee there. Cap G, yes, he's a healthy little scoundrel, don't you think his hair's growing? Capt Roman 1000, let's have a look. Hi HSD, come here, General Luck, and well report on you. Mrs. G, within what absurd name will you give him next? Why do you call him that? Capt Roman 1000, isn't he our Inspector General of Cavalry? Doesn't he come down in his 17th perambulator every morning? The Pink Hussars parade. Don't wriggle, Brigadier. Give us your private opinion on the way. The 3rd Squadron went past trifle ragged, weren't they? Cap G, a bigger set of tailors than the new draft. I don't wish to see they've given me more than my fare. Share knocking the squadron out of shape, it's sickening. Capt Roman 1000, when you're in command, y'all do better, young un, can't you walk, yet grip my finger, and try to G-twant hurt his hocks, will it? Cap G, oh no, don't let him flop though, or hell lick all the blacking off your boots. Mrs. G, within who's destroying my son's character. Capt Roman 1000, and my godsons, I am ashamed of you. Gaddy, punch your father in the eye, Jack, don't you stand it, hit him again. Cap G sotto voce, put the butcha down, and come to the end of the veranda id, rather the wife didn't hear just now. Capt Roman 1000, you look awfully serious, anything wrong? Cap G, depends on your view, entirely. I say, Jack, you want think more hardly of me than you can help. Will you come further this way? The fact of the matter is that I've made up my mind, at least I am thinking seriously off-cutting the service. Capt Roman 1000 H, what? Cap G, don't shout, I am going to send in my papers. Capt Roman 1000, you mad? Cap G, newly married. Capt Roman 1000, look here, what's the meaning of it all? You never intend to leave us. You can't. Isn't the best squadron of the best regiment of the best cavalry in all the world good enough for you? Capt G, jerking his head over his shoulder, she doesn't seem to thrive in this godforsaken country, and there's the butcha to be considered, and all that you know. Capt Roman 1000, does she say that she doesn't like India? Cap G, that's the worst of it, she want for fear of leaving me. Capt Roman 1000, what are the hills made for? Cap G, not for my wife at any rate. Capt Roman 1000, you know too much, Gaddy, and I don't like you any the better for it. Cap G, never mind that she wants England, and the butcha would be all the better for it. I am going to chuck, you don't understand. Capt Roman 1000 hotly, I understand this 137 new horse to be licked into shape somehow, before luck comes round again, a hairy-heeled draft hall, give more trouble than the horses, a camp, Next cold weather for a certainty ourselves the first on the roster, the Russian shindy ready to come to head at 5 minutes notice, and you the best of us all backing out of it, all think a little gaddy you want do it. Cap G hang it, a man has some duties toward his family, I suppose. Capt Roman 1000, I remember a man though who told me the night after Amturin, when we were picketed under Jagai, and he left his sword be, the way did you ever pay rankin for that swordin? And at man's eyes head that man told me that he stick by me, and the pinks as long as he lived I don't blame him for not sticking by me, not much of a man but, I do blame him for not sticking by the pink hussars. Cap G uneasily, we were little more than boys then, can't you see Jack how things stand tisn't, as if we were serving for our bread we've, all of us more or less, got the filthy lucre I am luckier than some perhaps, there's no call for me to serve on. Capt Roman 1000 none, in the world for you or for us, except the regimental if you don't choose to answer to that of course. Cap G don't be too hard on a man you know that a lot of us only take up the thing for a few years, and then go back to town, and catch on with the rest. Capt Roman 1000 not lots, and they aren't some of us. Cap G and then, there are one's affairs at home to be considered me place, and the rents, and all that I don't suppose my father can last much longer, and that means the title and so on. Capt Roman 1000 fraid you won't be entered in the stud book correctly, unless you go home take 6 months then, and come out in October, if I could slay off a brother or two I suppose, I should be a marquis of sorts any fool can be that. But it needs men gadamen like you to lead flanking squadrons. Properly, don't you delude yourself into the belief that you're going home to take your place, and prance about among pink-nosed cabuli dowagers. You aren't built that way I know better. Cap G, a man has a right to live his life, as happily as he can you aren't married. Capt Roman 1000, ne praise be to Providence, and the 1 or 2 women who have had the good sense to jawab me. Cap G, then you don't know what it is to go into your own room, and see your wife's head on the pillow, and when everything else is safe, and the house shut up for the night to wonder whether the roof beams won't give and kill her. Capt Roman 1000, aside revelations first, and second aloud so I knew a man who got squiffy at our mess once, and confided to me that he never helped his wife onto her horse, without praying that she'd break her neck, before she came back, all husbands aren't alike you see. Cap G, what on earth has that to do with my case? The man must ha' been mad or his wife, as bad as they make 'em. Capt Roman 1000, aside no fault of yours, if either weren't all you say, you've forgotten the time when you were insane about the Harriet woman, you always were a good hand at forgetting. Aloud not more mad than men who go to the other extreme, be reasonable gaddy, your roof beams are sound enough. Cap G, that was only a way of speaking I've been uneasy, and worried about the wife ever since that awful business 3 years agohen I nearly lost her can you wonder. Capt Roman 1000 a shell never falls twice in the same place. You've paid your toll to misfortuneuhi should your wife be picked out more than anybody else's. Cap G, I can talk just as reasonably as you can, but you don't understand. And then there's the butcha deuce knows where the ayah takes him to sit in the evening. He has a bit of a cough, haven't you noticed it? Capt Roman 1000 Bosh the brigadier's jumping out of his skin, with pure condition, he's got a muzzle like a rose leaf, and the chest of a 2-year-old what's demoralized you. Cap G funk, that's the long and the short of it funk. Capt Roman 1000, but what is there to funk? Cap G, everything it's ghastly. Capt Roman 1000 I see. You don't want to fight, and by jingo, when we do you've got the kid, you've got the wife, you've got the money too. That's about the case, eh? Cap G, I suppose that's it, but it's not br myself it's, because of them, at least I think it is. Capt Roman 1000, are you sure looking at the matter in a cold-blooded light? The wife is provided for even if you were wiped out tonight, she has an ancestral home to go to money, and the brigadier to carry on the illustrious name. Cap G, then it is for myself, or because they are part of me, you don't see it my life's so good so pleasant, as it is, that I want to make it quite safe can't you understand? Capt Roman 1000, perfectly shelter pit for the officer's charger as they say in the line. Cap G, and I have everything to my hand to make it so I am sick of the strain and the worry for their sakes out here, and there isn't a single real difficulty to prevent my dropping it, altogether it'll only cost me Jack, I hope y'all never know the shame that I've been going through for the past 6 months. Capt Roman 1000 hold on there, I don't wish to be told every man has his moods and tenses sometimes. Cap G laughing bitterly, has he what do you call craning over to see where your near for lands? Capt Roman 1000 in my case, it means that I have been on the considerable bend, and have come to parade with a head, and a hand it passes in 3 strides. Cap G lowering voice, it never passes with me Jack I'm always thinking about it, Phil Gadsby funking a fall on parade's sweet picture, isn't it draw it for me? Capt Roman 1000 gravely, heaven, forbid a man like you can't be as bad as that a fall is no nice thing, but one never gives it a thought. Cap G doesn't one wait, till you've got a wife and a youngster of your own, and then y'all know how the roar of the squadron behind you turns you cold all up the back. Capt Roman 1000 aside, and this man led it Amterin after Bagel Deason went under and we were all mixed up together, and he came out of the snow dripping like a butcher allowed skittles. The men can always open out, and you can always pick your way more or less. We haven't the dust to bother us as the men have, and whoever heard of a horse stepping on a man? Cap G never as long as he can see, but did they open out for poor Arrington? Capt Roman 1000 oh this is childish. Cap G, I know it is worse than that I don't care you've ridden Van Loo. Is he the sort of brute to pick his way specially, when we're coming up in column of troop with any pace on? Capt Roman 1000 once, in a blue moon, do we gallop in column of troop, and then only to save time errant 3 lengths enough for you. Cap G yes quite enough, they just allow for the full development of the smash, I am talking like a cur I know. But I tell you that, for the past 3 months I've felt every hoof of the squadron in the small of my back, every time that I've led. Capt Roman 1000, but Gaddy this is awful. Cap G isn't it lovely isn't it royal a captain of the Pink Hussars, watering up his charger before parade, like the blasted boozing colonel of a black regiment. Capt Roman 1000 you never did. Cap G once only he squelched like a mussuk, and the troop sergeant major cocked his eye at me, you know old Haffy's eye I was afraid to do it again. Capt Roman 1000 I should think so that was the best way to rupture old Van Loo's tummy, and make him crumple you up you knew that. Cap G I didn't care it took the edge off him. Capt Roman 1000 took the edge off him, Gaddy Yayu mustn't you know think of the men. Cap G that's another thing I am afraid of do you suppose they know. Capt Roman 1000, let's hope not, but they're a deadly quick to spot skirmlittle things of that kind see here old man, send the wife home for the hot weather, and come to Kashmir with me well start a boat on the Dal, or cross the Roding shoot Ibex, or loaf which you please, only come you're a bit off your oats, and you're a talking nonsense look at the colonel swag-bellied rascal that he has a wife, and no end of a bow window of his own, can any one of us ride round Himchickstones, and all I can't, and I think I can shove a crock along a bit. Cap G some men are different I haven't any nerve Lord help me, I haven't the nerve I've taken up a hole and a half, to get my knees well under the wallets. I can't help it I am so afraid of anything happening to me on my soul. I ought to be broke in front of the squadron for cowardice. Capt Roman 1000 ugly word, that I should never have the courage to own up. Cap G I meant to lie about my reasons when I began, but I've got out of the habit of lying to you old man, Jack you want but I know you want. Capt Roman 1000 of course, not half allowed the Pinks are paying dearly for their pride. Capt G eb whadat. Capt Roman 1000, don't you know the men have called Mrs. Gadsby the pride of the Pink Hussars ever since she came to us. Cap G tisn't her fault don't think that it's all mine. Capt Roman 1000 what does she say? Cap G I haven't exactly put it before her she's the best little woman in the world Jack, and all that but she wouldn't counsel a man to stick to his calling if it came between him and her, at least I think. Capt Roman 1000 never mind don't tell her what you told me go on the peerage, and landed gentry tack. Cap G shed see through it she's 5 times cleverer than I am. Capt Roman 1000 aside then shall accept the sacrifice, and think a little bit worse of him for the rest of her days. Cap G absently, I say do you despise me? Capt Roman 1000 queer way of putting it, have you ever been asked that question think a minute, what answer used you to give? Cap G so bad as that I am not entitled to expect anything more, but it's a bit hard, when one's best friend turns round and. Capt Roman 1000, so have found but you will have consolations bailiffs and drains and liquid manure, and the Primrose League, and perhaps if you're a lucky the colonelcy of a yeomanry cavalry regimental uniform, And no writing I believe how old are you? Cap G 33 I know it's. Capt Roman 1000 at 40 yowl, be a fool of a J.P. landlord at 50 yowl own a bath share. And the brigadier if he takes after you will be fluttering the dovecoats, off what's the particular dunghill, you're going to also Mrs. Gadsby will be fat. Cap G limply, this is rather more than a joke. Capt Roman 1000 Diu, think so isn't cutting the service a joke, it generally takes a man 50 years to arrive at it. You're quite right, though it is more than a joke you've managed it in 33. Cap G don't make me feel worse than I do, will it satisfy you if I own that I am a shirker, a scrimshanker, and a coward? Capt Roman 1000, it will not because I am the only man in the world who can talk to you like this. Without being knocked down, you mustn't take all that I've said to heart in this way. I only spoke ye a lot of it at least out of pure selfishness. Because oh damn it all old man I don't know what I shall do without you of course you've got the money. And the place, and all that and there are two very good reasons why you should take care of yourself. Cap G doesn't make it any sweeter I am backing, out I know, I always had a soft drop in me somewhere and I daren't risk any danger to them. Capt Roman 1000, why in the world should you're bound to think of your family bound to think him? If I wasn't a younger son, I'd go tube shot if I wouldn't. Cap G thank you Jack it's a kind lie. But it's the blackest you've told for some time, I know what I am doing. And I'm going into it with my eyes open old man, I can't help it what would you do if you were in my place? Capt Roman 1000 aside, couldn't conceive any woman getting permanently between me and the regiment aloud. Can't say very likely, I should do no better I am sorry for you all fly sorry but, if them's your sentiments I believe, I really do that you are acting wisely. Cap G do you I hope you do in a whisper Jack be very sure of yourself. Before you marry I am an ungrateful ruffian to say this. But marriageven as good a marriage as mine has been hampers a man's work, it cripples his sword arm. And oh it plays hell with his notions of duty sometimes good. And sweet, as she is sometimes I could wish that I had kept my freedom no, I don't mean that exactly. Mrs. G coming down veranda, what are you wagging your head over Pip? Capt Roman 1000 turning quickly me, as usual the old sermon your husband, is recommending me to get married, never saw such a one-idead man. Mrs. G well, why don't you I dare say you would make some woman very happy. Cap G there's the law and the prophets, Jack never mind the regiment, make a woman happy aside oh lord. Capt Roman 1000 well see, I must be off to make a troop cook desperately unhappy, I want have the wily hussar fed on government bullock train. Shinbones hastily, surely black ants, can't be good for the brigadier he's picking him off the matting, and eating em here Sener Comandante, Don Grubbanus come, and talk to me lifts, G Jr. in his arms want my watch you won't be able to put it into your mouth. But you can try G Jr. drops watch breaking dial and hands. Mrs. G, oh Captain Mafflin, I am so sorry Jack you bad little villain ah. Capt Roman 1000, it's not the least consequence I assure you he'd treat the world in the same way, if he could get it into his hands, everything's made to be played with, and broken isn't it young un. Mrs. G. Mafflin didn't at all like his watch being broken, though he was too polite to say, so it was entirely his fault for giving it to the child dem little puds, our wary feeble errant day by Jack-in-Box, to G what did he want to see you for? Cap G regimental shop as usual. Mrs. G, the regiment always the regiment on my word, I sometimes feel jealous of Mafflin. Cap G wearily poor old Jack, I don't think you need isn't it time for the butcher to have his nap, bring a chair out here dear I've got something to talk over with you. And this is the end of the story of the Gadsbys.